Thank you for coming. I love you for being here. It's Packrat now Basquiat.
Yes.
You know, I've been waiting a while to do this. Like I already told you, I love documenting the women of the scene because y'all intrigue me so much because we think of the scene as being primarily for gay men, trans women, and even though being a woman of queer experience, I still, when I see you on that floor, I'm just like, where did this girl come from? Where did she learn how to do all this? Like, you know, like when you, like even in, I just recently posted a clip of you and everybody in the comments like, oh, she is so femme queen about it. And, you know, like you can't just teach somebody that. You have to like really be a part of the culture. You have to really be around it. So I appreciate being able to get your insight, your story, on how you came up, everything like that. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready for the interview with Packrat Basquiat. I think you should be legendary, but you know, I'll say the up and coming legend, Packrat Basquiat. So, first, tell me, like, you know, you can go as deep as you want to. Tell me about your family life, your early upbringings, and how you ended up finding ballroom.
So I come from a two-parent household, high school sweethearts. Um, yeah, I know, right? So mom and dad, I have three siblings outside of myself. So I have two brothers and a sister, all older. So I'm the youngest. Um, yes, come on, we better agree. But pretty much they struggled a lot because they had kids really young. So they had my brother is like a whole 20 years older than me, pretty much. Yeah, so he was like 18 by the time I was even born.
So you grew up as an only child.
Kind of. My other siblings are 2 years apart from me. So yeah, so but I was always kind of the one chasing in school. So I tell people like at least the two middle kids got to be in school together, and I was always like the one playing catch up. I would get there, my brother would leave. I would get there, my brother would leave. You know, so I always had that like youngest kid complex of like wanting to be like valid, like you know what I'm saying, or just being able to like have friends, you know what I'm saying? But my parents were very loving. My dad was a military guy, so he was pretty strict. He was in the Marines. And
so you know how to make a bed really well.
Okay. And early. If my dad, it was weird. If you did not wake early, you did not get breakfast. It was if you missed it, you missed it. Like that's how my dad was. He would make breakfast, you come down, he didn't ate. And you'd be like, where is that? You should have been up. Like, but my mom was the opposite. So they're polar opposites, but very loving parents. My mom was like the super caregiver. My dad was the breadwinner. So very traditional, like old school Black values of what a heterosexual household looks like. Pretty much I grew up good. Honestly, I didn't really know that we were poor, to be honest. Like, I would say like poor / middle class.
Depending on who you ask, middle class could be considered poor.
Yeah. So we grew up in the hoods of Philly. So pretty much we was in the projects like near like West Salsa Street, like, and then from there, pretty much my mom and dad. Well, my mom was at home one day, and my dad was at work. After the military, he went to construction, because he went in to be a plumber, and he started doing like construction work because he actually worked at a place called the Negro Guilds. Yeah, it was that time period. So you know, they were very Black Panther from segregation type, still dealing with those issues of Jim Crow laws being abolished, but they're still dealing with the, you know, all those conflicts. And pretty much living in the hood, me and my siblings were playing down the street at one time, and we almost got shot and killed by a drive-by that was happening, the shootout that was happening on the street. My mom panicked. She was like, we got to get the kids out of here. We cannot live here no more. So they started looking for houses over the bridge, but they wanted to still be close because all our family was in Philly, and our grandparents was in Philly. So they still wanted to be able to access that. My dad worked in Philly. So they looked at the closest place across the bridge in Jersey, right off of the Betsy Ross, which was Willingboro, New Jersey. That's where I honestly grew up. We moved from Philly when I was still like a baby. And we moved to a house in New Jersey. But of course, like they were the first to get out of the hood to try to live this lifestyle. Willingboro was still more white. So was being that Black family on a block full of white people. but we grew up with like, riding bikes on the street. So pretty much like growing up in Jersey, like there was this whole new lifestyle, and I had to, you know, figure out my identity too, because the majority of my family was from the hood. I go over there, they telling me I'm rich, I got money, and I come to Jersey, I'm the poor family. Like, you know what I'm saying? So there was that complex of like, where do I fit in? And how do I maintain swag? Because I would go there to like, you talk weird. Like I go to Philly, you talk weird. What is this? Da, 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 da. Like you don't even know slang. But then I come to Jersey and like, you too hood. Like I didn't fit in with all of my friends. So I always kind of felt like an outcast growing up. And I went through a regular public school system. It wasn't no fancy shit. Like, and then
have you went through any like racism in the all white family?
Honestly, growing up, I didn't see it. I didn't really experience racism till like college, like firsthand, like first person. My parents probably saw it more than I did because I was a kid. Like I wasn't. I was worried about playing.
It's not on your radar.
Yeah, and my parents were very good at keeping me a kid. Like they let us. They dealt with a lot of trauma in their lives, so they wanted to make sure that we got the lives that they didn't get to have. So they both had dreams that they wanted to pursue, but their parents told them they weren't allowed to. So they made sure that they got us in every extracurricular club. We were in the band. We did all the class trips and all that stuff. They fought, like, and I would see them sacrifice. They wouldn't buy themselves clothes so that we could have new clothes. Like, you know what I'm saying? My mom would wear the same hairstyle so that we can get our hair done, like, or get this new pair of shoes or whatever. So I saw the sacrifice that they gave up of their lives, like, to allow us to be and do what we wanted to do. And the good thing is I always had that parental support of them wanting to, like, my dad always wasn't here for it, but he would show up. He might fall asleep. Like, he was there. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I enjoyed the fact that I was able to have both parents. And of course they had their rocky roads, but they came from that era of you do it once. You get married and you're married. Like, so they fought through a lot of their issues, which showed me what Black love looks like. And maybe not always the gender roles, but I did see a good representation of Black love, and I felt the sacrifices that they did for me to be able to be where I'm at today. Like, without them supporting me, I doubt I would still be here, so.
So how did they feel about your ballroom
career? Well, I ended up finding Ballroom at 16. I was a senior in high school, 2006.
16?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you were smart.
I'm not playing. But I ended up finding out, like, pretty much about Ballroom. One of my friends was like, the first gay friend I had, and they were like, you gotta come. And at that time, I didn't know I was gay. I knew that I thought women were attractive. I also still thought men were very sexy, so I didn't know. There was no term for like bisexual where I was at in Jersey. Like, everybody was just gay or not gay. Like, you know what I'm saying? You was either gay or straight, and then either you was butch or you was femme. Like, so
a lot of people still look at it like that.
Yeah, but now the world has changed. Yeah. So at that time, I didn't really understand my sexuality, but I was like, yeah, I'll go. And they was like, yeah, well, we got to go to this club in Philly. And then I was like, oh, no. Like, my parents are not letting me leave the house in the middle of the night to go to a whole nother state, bro. You're wildin', like, chill. And they were like, nah, you got to come out. So I devised this whole plan. Like, my dad worked in construction, so he had this big construction truck, and it had a ladder attached to it. I had the room right on top of the roof. So I waited for them to go to bed. I snuck out the house. I was not a bad kid. Like I was very like the
Philly
people
and
pleaser.
Jersey is like right next to each other.
Yeah, it's like 15 minutes for me. Like where I live at, I'm 15 minutes across the bridge.
But it was just the respect that you had for your parents that you didn't want them to at least find out.
Yeah. So I like felt really bad about it, and I was like, but I really want to go. Like, so I devised a plan to sneak out. I snuck out, stuffed the bed with like the stuffed animals and the pillows and shit, and then hopped off the roof and got in the car. And then I went to this club called the Breakfast Club in Philly. And the minute I walked in, I was like, what? First off, the fact that they let me in, I don't even know how back in the days because I was underage. But literally they was fab. I went in there and I just saw all these beautiful gay people and at that time, like it was really about when you stepped out, you stepped out. So people was like bedazzled and gemmed and had these sickening ass outfits on. And I'm like, what is this? Like, who are these people? What is this?
Dressed like that in the middle of the night.
In the middle of the night, right? And it was called a Breakfast Club because they actually used to serve breakfast in the mornings, and that's when the strippers used to come too. First time I ever saw like strippers too, like because they used to have the strippers come from the strip club after night, and that people used to tip them. And I also when I started seeing like sex siren. So anywho, saw that, and it was like I need to be a part of this. So I started making more frequent trips to the Breakfast Club. So I even started getting bolder with the sneaking out. I was like, oh, I would take my mom's keys or my dad's keys. I know. And I would hop in the car and I would drive and I would try to get back before I knew they had to go to work to let the car cool down. I know, because my parents wasn't dumb, right? And sneak back into the house. Of course, I ended up getting caught because I think it was like something. The windows were still foggy. The car didn't cool. Yeah, the car didn't cool down.
It was sneaky though for them not to catch you coming in and out.
Yeah, but I think it was just because I had a convenient room. You know what I'm saying? And my parents worked really hard, so when they slept, they slept. Like you know what I'm saying? Like my mom used to work nights too, and my dad would work the day, so they would switch. Very much black households. Like although they were still together, they rarely saw each other because they was trying to make the money. Like you know what I'm saying? So they would see each other sometimes on weekends, or if we had like trips and stuff, they would go together and make sure they had off. But
it was a sacrifice.
Yeah, the sacrifice that they did so that we could have. But then I did get caught that one day. And they was asking me where I was, and I was so scared because I did not want to tell them where I was going. But I was just like, oh, I had an emergency. Of course I lied, like I was a kid. Well, I remember I got whooped fiercely, like fiercely. Like, oh yes, my parents did not care. My parents did not care. I was still getting like jacked. Like that was just.
You a girl, I'm a boy. They stopped whooping me at like 11 because it stopped hurting.
Oh no, I was like, even though I thought I was a thug, because you know, like half of my family is from Philly. Like, nah, I was very much a punk, and I did not like getting hit. I still don't like getting hit. Like, don't hit me, don't hit me. So like, you know, I cried or whatever, and I said I was gonna stop like doing it, which I did, for a while, for a while. But that's how I found it. I don't think they knew anything about me being gay. And I think like I found out as I continued to go to the club, like, which I like this. I feel like this is me. Like, I feel like I'm around my people. And I also felt like, you know, that was the part of me that was missing, was having queer friends or gay friends to understand those parts of me. I found other people that were figuring out their sexuality that didn't quite know. So I didn't feel alone so much in the feelings that I had towards women or, it was harder because I didn't see that many cis women in Philly at that time. Like I saw some, you know, that they was more like butch, you know what I'm saying?
So you were already having sexual relations with women at that point?
I wasn't having sexual relations. I was very much a punk until like I was 18. I didn't have sexual relations with anybody until I got older. But I definitely was looking. I would say it was hardcore looking.
You knew what you wanted.
Yeah, I would entertain it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I would entertain like the little, you know, what they hit on me. Yeah, the flirts, all those things. And I also
doing it.
Yeah, and at my school, like it was more so the light skinned girls got to play. So I was always the friend. I was always the one in the friend zone and not the girl that was desired. And it was also the same thing, like if you wasn't putting out, you wasn't a cool kid, you was more of the nerd. I don't know if that was just the era in time or what, but that's kind of where it was. I was very still nerdy in high school.
You said the light skinned girls
Yeah, they were the girls. I mean, if you think about it during that time too, the desire in music videos was a lot of light skinned women or Puerto Rican girls. Like, you did have your few girls that was it. Like you had your little Kims, your Foxies.
Rap City time.
Mm-hmm.
With, even in those Foxy Brown videos, you could probably see how many light skinned backup dancers.
And it was also the over sexualization of black women. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you was attractive if you had your titties out or your always like so that was like to also feel desired was like something that made me go back to like when I go there they think I'm fab, like, you know what I'm saying. So that also like made me want to get to know ballroom more as well. Like it was welcoming. I felt like I was around my people, and I felt desired. So there was like these added factors that I didn't get in the real world. I don't know. But my family had no idea that I was gay. And at that point, I don't think it was coming out shows wasn't a thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like now that's very much a thing where the girls will have cakes and, oh, I want to tell my family that I'm gay. Like, no, it's just like, you just didn't speak about it.
You basically found, I guess your calling in ballroom because you felt everything that you was missing from your life, you was getting it from there. Mm-hmm. Were you ever like, because I know like in just environments like that, I've never specifically been to the Breakfast Club, but just me also coming up around that same time in Detroit, I know like the drug aspect. You got a lot of the people doing drugs. If not offering it to you, they're just doing it around you. Yeah. Have you ever been like tempted by that, or at least maybe put off by?
It never stopped me from going to balls. Like there was like I think at that time not everybody was so open about it. Like I would see people be there and they would go to the bathroom to do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was like if you saw 12 girls coming in the bathroom, you know what was happening. And like, but I did have it offered to me and I was like young, but I grew up with the DARE program. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but it was like the don't do drugs, like the commercials with the monkey and stuff. Yeah, like and the kids on strings and all of like. So I grew up like no, and I also have a history of addiction in my family. So I was like, if I try something, I don't know if I'm gonna get addicted to it. So I've seen my family members being addicted to stuff, or I've seen friends being addicted to stuff. So seeing how those people will act, when they're on it, made me sad. Like, you know what I'm saying? Especially like when you love somebody so much and you see like their whole personality change once they take the drug, like it would hurt me. But they're grown. What am I supposed to say? Like, I can't stop them from doing it. But it was also that fear of I don't want to be that person in that position, or I don't like how that looks on them, so I wouldn't want to look that way. Do I look down on anybody that decides to do it? No. Your life is your life and your choice is your choice. But I did get pressured a lot at that time to do drugs. But it just, to me, I just was, thankfully, I had the willpower to say no. Yeah. And I was more so in it for the fun, like, because I also had that fear of my parents, like military dad, like super mom, like, I was like, I'm gonna go home. They would tear me up, like, yeah, they would tear me up, like, so I think it was also that fear plus the additive. I knew the history of my family.
Right. I'm glad that you didn't just fall into those, pitfalls of, and that's just not ballroom speaking, that's just life.
I mean, it's a glorification too. Like, if music, people are talking about popping pills and doing coke, like people think that it's a cool thing to do too, So I think that also the industry of what we watch, has a lot to influence how we react to certain things as well. But that's why I'm very grateful for my parents, like being able to, and like having that DARE program in school, because if I didn't know those things, I probably would have, so.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah. So, I guess now, tell me about like the first house you joined, why you chose that house, and yeah.
So I was around the Kiki scene and the mainstream scene a lot, but I've never been like a group person, like, which is crazy because I was always on dance teams, but I felt like I knew from being on dance teams that I was not meant to be in a group. I do work very well with others, which is crazy. Like, I feel like I'm very good in a group. It's just, I have my own way of doing things and I don't like living in shadows. Like, And I feel like that's very easy to do. Get caught up when you're around a lot of people. They just lump you all together and call you whatever that is versus knowing who you are and respecting who you are as a person. So, and I also didn't like the drama that came with like being in houses. Like you be cool. I saw people be like growing up as a kid. Like if I see people be best friends, we all keep keying, and then they join two separate houses. Now they don't talk to each other. You know what I'm saying? Or now they got beef. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I saw that happen so much that I was like, I don't want to lose any of my friends just off the strength of me going to a different house or not picking this house. Now they shaded me, you know, or they treat me different when I walk the ball because I didn't go with their house. You know, so that really kind of steered me away from joining the house for many, many years. Like, mind you, I was out in 06. I didn't join the house till like 2013, 14.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you definitely.
I stayed at 007 for a long, long time. But I also,
oh
yeah, I was still walking. I walked a lot as a 00, and I felt like that also helped me because it built up my confidence, charisma, because you have to be able to walk on your own and not people don't. If you're not in their house, they're not screaming for you. I would come out, it was crickets, like silence, you know, and I might have my one or two good G's in the back, like, yes, you know. And at the time when I was younger, I went by a different name. I was Skittles, until I met Skittles from Chicago, and she was Fab, and I was like, honey, I gotta change my name. Because I knew it to be a girl with the same name as somebody else. So I felt like after that, then my mom actually named me Packrat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Next question. How did you get why did she name you?
Because I was trying to find like a name, honestly, at that time, because I didn't want to go by my real name. For those who do know me, it's Stephanie. I'm a Stephanie. And although I love my real name, I didn't want that to be like my entertainment name. So I wanted to be able to.
Why not?
Because I also feel like there's a lot of Stephanies.
Okay, yeah.
And
Lady Gaga.
Mm-hmm. And it was popular on that show Recess, the Stephanies. Like, I know, like Stephanie, there was so many Stephanies. I just felt like I wanted something else, and I felt like two separate people. Like Stephanie is this like super nerdy, like business person, and Packrat is like super fun, extra outgoing. Like I felt like it was really a bone personality that comes out when I hit the floor. Like everybody who knows me, I'm a like uber nerd. Like I like to read a lot. I like to listen to podcasts. I'm a gamer. Like I'm like anime watcher. I'm a nerd. Comic books nerd. But you see me on the floor, you would think I was like this sex kitten. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like total opposite person. So that's the Packrat. And my mom was like, pretty much she said like, I was looking for names, and my dance team had named me Paparazzi. I hated it. Then they tried to name me like Go Getter or something. I was like, ew, like I sound too hard. So like I'm not even that girl. And then my mom was like, why don't you be like Packrat? Because you're a Packrat when it comes to knowledge. Like, and I was like, I am. She was like, so she was like, you like to learn a lot of things. And I've always said one of my mottos is I like to learn a new thing every day. Like if you're not learning, then you're dying. If you're not growing, you're dying. So I believe you should always keep growing and evolving yourself and learning. So she was like, and you always carry a bag, whether it's a backpack or a purse. So she said it just goes with who you are. Like you're a Packrat when it comes to learning things. You're a Packrat when it comes to like carrying. I'm not a Packrat in real life. I don't hold on to everything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't hold on to that. But when it comes to knowledge, I am a type of person that likes to grow. So I was like, you know what? I like it. So I was like, I'll adapt it for a little bit. I made it my name on Vine. And I made it my name on Vine and Instagram and Twitter.
Maybe when I first seen
on Vine, Instagram, and Twitter.
I used to be on Vine a lot.
Yeah, so on Vine, Instagram, and Twitter, I named my name, and then I ended up getting Vine famous, and that kind of made the name stick. Like once I got Vine famous, it was like you're Packrat. Everybody addressed me as Packrat, and not that many people knew me as Stephanie. So I always say there's two parts of my life, like the people that knew me as who I am, and the people that learned me as Packrat. And I always say, if you didn't know me as Stephanie, don't call me Stephanie, because you don't know that girl. You know Packrat. And so call me Pack. Call me P. Don't call me Miss Rat. Don't try me. But
okay.
Yeah, I've had that a couple times. I was like, honey, don't try it. Or people reverse it and say Rat Pack, because there's the famous Rat Pack. But I'm like, honey, Packrat. All one word too. Not Pack space Rat. Packrat. All one word. But that's how it came about, and that's how it stuck.
Did I write it right on a clip? I better have.
I'm not sure.
If I hadn't, I'm gonna change it.
I believe you did. But yeah, that's how the name came about, and that's how she became here.
Right. That's dope. So, your first house was
La Vin.
La Vin.
Yes.
And that was like right. You said 2013.
Mm-hmm.
That was like right when they did the whole emergence or whatever. Or soon after.
Yeah. Well, I think they were already around for a while before I joined them. But I honestly,
there was the Visu though.
Yeah, there was a Visu and La Croix. So pretty much.
What year did they transition?
I could not tell you. I'm really bad with dates. That's what I could say. Like I know some
of
these.
I thought it was around that time, but I don't know.
No, I think it was earlier because Deshaun was a part of the forming of the new house too. But yeah, so pretty much when I was a kid, I really was looking at LaVesia and I was looking at Evisu because Evisu had all the chocolate people. And since I'm darker, I wanted to be with people that look like me. You know, colorism is big in the scene.
So do you think there are houses that are colorist?
I don't think
practice colorist ways.
I think ballroom in general has colorist ways. Like even in certain categories, like face, like they expect your nose to be smaller or whatever. Like they want your cheeks lifted. Like the very European standard of certain things.
I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah, like I've had it. You know, my kids come and tell me that they tried to go to certain houses and they said that they need to get their face done or whatever. Like you know what I'm saying?
Because it's like, and when I see the film queens do that, it's like I be telling some of them like stop getting work done because it's like you're not even getting work to look like a woman at this point or look more feminine. You're getting work to make yourself look more Eurocentric, and that's what I feel like.
But that's a part of ballroom culture, you know, and it's a part that we don't really want to talk about and discuss. There's a lot of hard topics we don't want to talk about and discuss, but we really don't discuss colorism at all. Like a lot of times, like I tell people, they'll go for the lighter versus the darker. I've seen it happen in plenty of categories, or even just like saying that this girl is prettier just because her hair is a certain way, like she got curlier pattern or straight hair. You know, or eccentric features, you know what I'm saying? But they don't vote for the girl with the nose. Or I even say like even the part with like gaps. Gaps are normal, honey, but your teeth gotta be a certain way for you to still be fab. Like you can be pretty, but the minute you smile, they're like, oh, you don't have it because you got a gap in your teeth. Like that's a normal thing for people. A lot of people have gaps, like, you know, so I think that there's just like this huge standard of Europeanism and perfectionism that is not healthy. That like, even when it comes to like body categories, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I saw recently, I think her name's Ella. I don't want to get her name wrong, but there's a cis girl that walked, I think she's Riley's daughter. She walked body in LA. And I had that problem before too, where you don't have a voluptuous body, but you don't have a model's body. So it's like, where do you fit in that body category? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to walk body, like, do you just not get to walk because you don't fit in? Like, you know, because I've had that issue too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, when I was teeny, I could walk model's body, but I wasn't teeny enough. Or, you know what I'm saying? Or I didn't have the perfect structure, but then I can't walk voluptuous body because my body's not built. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I think that could be like a cis woman thing too, because sometimes the femme queens they'll just like slide them through, but then I'll see like they'll give like a cis woman a real hard time. You know, like I remember.
Cis girls get a hard time anyway.
Yeah, just in this ball in Ohio, it was like this girl. She walked, but she was so skinny, but she had a nice body, but she was like literally like this. But they chopped her, and I was just like, you know, her presentation was nice, her confidence was nice. It's just she didn't have like the bam,
the stereotype body.
You know, so it was like I felt like it was an opportunity for somebody to step in and say, no, this is model's body, but you know that didn't happen. It was just chopped.
My thing is, all bodies are models' bodies. Look at Savage Fenty. You know what I'm saying? There's people of all shapes, sizes, heights. So who's to determine what a model body look like if that's going to be the category? You know,
that's up to us to change that because we got to look at when Ballroom got started and where
it is now.
Yeah, where it is, where the world was at when Ballroom got started, and where it is now.
I mean, that's a lot of evolution that we need to do, though, because then it also comes to category, you know, non-binary categories and having, you know, like, to me, it's just also evolving categories as a whole. You know, like opening them up like just like we opened them up before in the younger years, so that wasn't just drags and realness and Vogue, but we started opening up and having even more stuff. Like the same way we need to do that now. Like we need to start having those gender nonconforming categories. Like, do I think that I think there's some things that you realize that just aren't for you to walk. Like, cause I even say like when Cisco's trying to walk femme queen performance, honey, you're not a femme queen. That's their category. Same way that they say
they try to walk there?
I've seen people try to walk. Or Cisco's come out femme queen face. Like, girl, stop trying it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not your category. There's certain stuff that you should know is just not for you. Just like I feel like there couldn't be a non-binary realness category, because the whole point of realness is to look like a stereotypical cisgendered man or woman. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like realness is not a category that you could technically open up for non-binary, but there's so many other categories that you can. So I feel like there's certain categories that you should just know just aren't for you, but there is a lot of work to be done in ballroom when it comes to misogyny, when it comes to sexism, when it comes to the Girlfriend Judy panels, honey, when it comes to European standards. There's a lot of work to be done there, you know.
So going back to like the gender non-conforming thing, I actually think it's really good that we are. Go ahead, Chuck.
I was like, is that me? Oh no, I thought I put it on airplane mode. Girl, do not disturb. Thank you. On.
So with the gender non-conforming thing, like I really, next time I have a ball, I want to add so many gender non-conforming categories, because I do think it is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
However, just to play devil's advocate for the sake of content, the one thing that I do think could be a problem with gender non-conforming categories, which could possibly be a problem in everyday realness, because now you have everyday realness is pretty much half of the thugs that couldn't win or didn't win. So do you think that gender non-conforming will now be like a scapegoat category for all these people who are chasing status and chasing of the years? Do you think that they're gonna just put some press on nails and then walk out there for gender non-conforming face or gender non-conforming whatever, just for a quick of the year point? Do you think that could be a problem?
I think that there's a lot of things that could be problems. I think that's just a part of evolution, like of a culture, right? There's always going to be the people that are going to exploit whatever, but you can't get upset over the few bad apples that choose to exploit versus treat it correctly, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't deserve to be there for the people that actually need it. Right. So I always think that there's going to be use and abuse of whatever we do in ballroom, but it's also knowing that it still doesn't make it right for it not to be there for those who need it. Right. So, I mean, it's just calling out the girls that do choose to try it and making sure that that's the case. Because I think you can say that about so much other things in ballroom too, where people can explore or use it. I've seen people not make it in one category and go, well, then I'm going to walk face or I'm going to walk this. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'd rather get it here than there, just because I couldn't do well here, so. I think ballroom just needs evolution on so many aspects. To be honest.
So, I really do appreciate that. Like, speaking of all of those issues, if you could pick one issue that is the biggest thing that is holding ballroom back from being whatever you think the greatest peak of ballroomism is, if you could just envision in your mind ballroom at its best, what one problem is hindering it from getting to that space?
That's hard. Ooh, you tried it. You tried it.
So many.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I feel like need work, and to me, they kind of work together. You know what I'm saying? You can't get to one without the other. One, supporting our own people. That's my main thing. Is like, there's no reason why we couldn't be the producer of the lead producer, or the show couldn't be by us, but we outsource to people because they have the coin, they have the connections, and we want to catch our coin, we want our connections, that we rather give it to somebody else versus us doing the work to make it our own. I feel like that's the main thing. Like, we're quick to big up other people that don't look like us, that don't come from our scenarios, quicker than we are to just support the people that are standing next to you. Like, I think I heard something really good from like Issa Rae before, where you're supposed to work beside you. We keep trying to reach for the people up here. They already have their teams. They already know what they want to do, and they're more willing to exploit you so that they can get their own personal gain versus supporting each other. So I would say start by supporting each other. Like, throw the drama aside, like, and realize that if we work together, we can all eat. Like, so that's why I say it's definitely step one is start caring more about our own community and supporting each other.
How do you do that though when you have a community that is basically based off of competition?
I mean, I think it's hard anyway because, like, not even just that, our community is based off of trauma. Like, it's literally built out of trauma. So you have all these people with trauma leading other people that have trauma that didn't get help, or, you know, so it's just a constant cycle of passing down traumas. Instead of actually going to get the help that we need. And I think that has a lot to play with people's pride, people not wanting to help out each other. You know, I think that's all just stems from generational trauma. And the fact that we can do better if we just like lean on each other. Like, you know, we'll lean on each other in some aspects, but this one's too much. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's having those hard conversations to get out of those situations. Like, you know, I hear sometimes the older girls say like, the newer kids are ruining the scene, but where are y'all to help us? Where are y'all to help us develop and make sure that we do better? Y'all just choose not to come out or not to support.
I've been like outside in the parking lot of a bar, and it's melee. Like, I mean, it's like multiple fights going on. People acting the goddamn ass. And where are the leaders of the scene? They're recording. They got their phone out.
Trauma supporting trauma.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's one of the issues too. Is like a lot of our leaders are only leaders during LSS.
Ooh.
And that's the issue.
Yeah. So, some people are leaders until they get status, and then they don't want to do the work no more. And to me, being a leader is every day. Like, it's helping to, it's not about the accolades. It's about, do you truly care about the people that are in this community and the growth and the success and the authenticity of the community? Because sometimes I feel like I'm fighting harder than some of the icons and legends are to keep it authentic. Like, I've turned down jobs, I've turned down teaching opportunities because I'd rather be able for the people of the scene to be able to afford. My classes be majority Black and brown and Latino, because I have them affordable enough where people can make it. You know what I'm saying? I also make sure, like, even now, the price of balls is going up. Like, our own people almost can't afford to even get in the ball. And then we wonder why the spectators are all not looking like us. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or the people that are able to get in don't look like us. Like, we're even making it unachievable for ourselves. We're forgetting the reason why it was created, you know?
I feel like that's a very LA issue as far as, like, the spectators, because we was talking about that before.
Yeah.
LA has a lot of spectators. I've been looking at the clips, and I'm like, where did all these people come from in the crowd?
Yeah.
You don't even recognize nobody. Like, you could look at an East Coast ball and just start looking at the crowd,
and you see
this person. That I remember somebody commented that on one of my videos. Obviously, they're not in Ballroom specifically, but they was just like, I'm looking at the crowd, and I see this legend and this person and that person who walks. And they said that it made them feel so good because it's really a community, and and it's somebody that never even been inside a bar before. Yeah. But over here on LA, the nightlife is so, the way the nightlife is set up, and I feel like because of a lot of LA people are just very maybe open-minded in general, and they say, yeah, let's go out to this bar, let's check this out. Where that might not be the case, or not the case, it might not be as magnified in like a Detroit or a Chicago. Most of the people that you see at the bar are going to be from the actual community.
I think it's also the fact that things are close on the East Coast, because me being someone that came from the East Coast to the West, like, you can go to 3 different states in a weekend. Right. You know what I'm saying? I can hit Philly, New York, Jersey, and hit DC. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, in literally a week. Yeah. I could go to different balls everywhere. Here, it's 8 hours to get to the Bay. Right. It's 3 hours to get to San Diego. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I just feel like the community here is a lot smaller. Like, I've been here for 9 years, almost 10 years now, and the community is so much smaller, and it's honestly more commercialized, in my opinion. Like, you go there, it's just raw energy. Like, you go to the East Coast, it's raw energy. Like, the commentators is wild, the people is feeling it. Like, and here, I feel like it's more like a studio type version of it, and it's nothing against LA. Like, it's just like, I feel like I've heard stories that in the past it was fab, like it was a big scene, everybody came out. But I think that the scenes are just completely different. Even here, like, the judges are always the same people on the panel, the same 5, 10 people on the panel, the same 6, 10, 15 people walking the same categories. Like, so to me, it gets a little dry at times because you see the same exact people. Where you can go to New York, you got people flying in from overseas, you got people coming from the Midwest, from the South, all the people from the different states in the East. So you're going to have more of that authentic vibe, and the foundation is in New York. So, you have the founding city there.
Like you said, also, I think one of the main issues is the distance. Because, like, I was telling you, like, even just me being in Chicago, like, anytime, I don't think I've ever paid for any round trip ticket from Chicago to New York more than $150.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I've ever paid for any, like, West Coast ticket less than like $300-400.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just more expensive.
Oh yeah,
to get over here.
I told it's more. That's what I tell people. For me, it's more expensive to walk too. Because if I gotta come from LA, you gotta remember, I gotta buy that ticket. I gotta get the hotel, the outfit, the entry fee, the Ubers, the food, the check bag. Like the ticket already is like, girl, you're trying it. Like, so to add everything on top of that, it gets really expensive. And I tell people that's like one of my main struggles as a Black woman, and my career in ballroom since I moved to LA has been I can't walk as frequently as I used to when I was on the East Coast, because if things are just too far, it's way too expensive for my pockets. My parents don't have it. I dang sure ain't got it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm working to get it. Universe, bring it to my life. Right. You know what I'm saying? But I just don't currently have it. And I tell people, when you are like that, you have to be strategic. Like, that's been a big thing about my ballroom journey, is that I have to be strategic about where I go, when I'm going out, because I'm spending a lot of money to go. And I always make sure that I train my butt off. Like, I work really, really hard because, one, there's not that many balls out here in LA. So I'm not getting as much practice as the girls that's going to 6 balls a week in New Jersey and in New York. Like, Kiki balls, mainstream balls, 3 balls a week. Plus you go out of state, you go to other, I'm not getting all that. Like, so I have to, like, we have to practice here. Like, you have to practice. Otherwise, you're not going to have the stamina to walk against 10 girls.
But that's one of the things I really respect from y'all, like all of y'all that I follow on the East Coast. It's like, I damn near ever just see a leisurely post. Like, everything is like business. Everything is this class, that class, and I'm not talking shit. I'm inspired because I'm telling people, like, everybody want to downgrade ballroom and say, oh, it's only extracurricular, and it is. But at the same time, what's the point of learning any skill if you're not going to put it to use?
Yeah.
So y'all literally get y'all skills, y'all get y'all foot in the door, and then it's money time. Like, I don't hate on it.
But it wasn't always like that though. I tell you, when I first came out here, it wasn't like casting anybody for Vogue. Like I didn't even see Vogue as a career. I came here, I was in a modern dance company, and I was doing hardcore hip hop. Like, I was teaching Jersey Club out here. Like, I'm a Zeta. I was also stepping and strolling and all that stuff out here. I keep to all the Greeks. But I literally felt like they wasn't casting for that. Like, and it was my dad, Deshaun, who was like, have you ever thought of doing a career in ballroom? And I was like, child, like, I literally was like, child, where's the coin? Like, it's not no money. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yes, I could walk the balls and stuff, but, like, I've been walking balls since 2006. So I was like, I don't see where, that's really going to benefit me. He was like, no, like, I think you should just try. And we would go out here and look crazy at these auditions, like voguing down as freestylers, or going to the audition, like, mind you.
Too?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, me and Deshaun is auditioning together. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I went to the Riri audition too. But my thing is, they cast the icon and the legendary. You know what I'm saying? And I respect that. You know what I'm saying? But I was at the same auditions. Like, we was literally doing the hard work out here to get Vogue on those TV screens with the right people. I would see people at the audition look up a clip of how to Vogue, or watch a quick video on YouTube to try to get booked on a gig, or come up to me, Packrat, can you show me how to do this? And my naive ass trying to make friends. Sure. Then they get casted over me.
That's what I was about to ask. That's what they was
then I stopped showing people.
Hell no.
I stopped showing people.
Hell no.
I was getting asked to do tutorials all the time. Like, why? Why am I giving away the culture for free? Why? No. Like, pay me. Pay me. You know, like, but honestly, Deshaun was the first one to let me sub his class. Like, because I honestly didn't think I was ready. I didn't want to start teaching until I was like, you know, till I did my due diligence. But he was like, there's no black women. You have a lot to say. You've been, at that time, I was like traveling a lot at that time. I would really make it a point that during the holidays when I went home with my family to go to as many balls as possible whenever I was on the East Coast because I could hit ding, 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 ding. So I would make sure I went to New York. I would make sure I went to Philly. I would go to DC or Baltimore. You know, I would try to hit Jersey. I would try to hit as many balls as I could since I knew it was possible, and then I would come back to LA. But I did that on purpose because otherwise it was harder, like we talked about earlier, money.
Right.
Like, I had to choose whether or not I wanted to eat or go to a ball.
Right.
Like, I had to choose whether or not I wanted to even try to live that month. Like, if you see older pictures of me when I first started as a kid, I was teeny. Like, I
remember you back then. I've been following you for a long time.
But I tell people it's because I was choosing to do what I loved versus eat. I was choosing to do what I loved versus making sure that I was taking care of myself the way I needed to. You know what I'm saying? I ended up homeless out in LA. People don't know that. I was sleeping on a train, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
for a long time?
For a while. Like, you know, but I had too much pride. Like, and I also know my family didn't have it. If they heard I was outside, they would have been, come on. Like, you know what I'm saying? They would not have let me do it. So you
wanted to figure it out on your own, just for your own.
I wanted my dream that bad that I was willing to sacrifice my health, you know. And I tell people, a lot of people don't realize how much it takes to get to where you want to be, but it takes a lot, you know what I'm saying, to do what you want to do. Like, I had no family out here at the time, you know. Well, when I first got out, my brother was out here working in gaming, so I stayed with him for a little bit. Then he moved, and I was off on my own. And I chose to stay because I was like, this is what I want to do. But people don't realize for Black women, it's just harder. Like, even just getting accepted in the ballroom community is harder. Like, I feel like we have to do 150 times more than a European girl or international girl or a white girl does just to get seen. You know,
but my mama used to tell me that
they expect us to be able to. Yeah. They expect us to be able to do. They're not expecting the international girl or the white girl to be able to dip on beat or to be able to have some rhythm.
So it's more of a surprise when they do.
It's more of a, oh my God, like, so they have that wow factor. They expect it from us. So it's very disappointing. Like, when you working so hard, but you still feel like, fuck am I here for? You know what I'm saying? And I know this is an ongoing problem with a lot of Black women, you know, cis women in the scene, like, and especially with colorism, women in general in the scene, you know what I'm saying? Whether you're non-binary, femme, trans, or cis, you know what I'm saying? Everything on the spectrum, you know, when it comes to women of darker complexion, it's just harder. Yeah. So it's just like, for me, I know that I always known that was something I had to push myself to work harder to do. And I always knew that was going to be more work for me, but I never got deterred from that. You know, I never got deterred from it. I never let it stop me, because it's sad to say this, but I look to my ancestors. If my ancestors can get the fuck out of slavery,
you can do anything.
I can do anything. I had ancestors getting their feet chopped off. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, ripped away from their families. Like, who am I to be crying about these third world problems? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, who am I to be crying about it? And that, on those days where I was really low, I would pull on that, you know what I'm saying, to push me through. Like, or when I felt like I was doing my best and the people wouldn't see me. Like, LA didn't start respecting me till I started winning outside of LA. I would lose here. I only got like 1 or 2 wins in LA. Like, but once I started traveling, they was like, oh, she's from LA. Oh, she's from LA. Oh, now we claim her, she's LA. No, I'm from Jersey. Don't claim me now.
Right.
Where were you when I actually needed your support? You know what I'm saying? I still respect LA, and I say I am a part of LA because I've been here long enough. So I have both sides on my back. I carry them equally because they both helped me to get to where I am. But there was that really hard, like, okay, like, I felt like, why? It got to a point where I stopped walking. Like I was walking '06. I took a break because I went to college. I came back in '09. And I started walking more in New York and North Jersey. And then I was like, start '09 is when I started my Vine page. And then I was like super heavy, like traveling, walking balls and all that stuff, but people still didn't know who I was like that. Then 2012, like, cause I was walking female figure performance, there wasn't that many women's categories really in '06 to like, but then I saw them start respecting more women, like 2012, you started seeing like more of like the Chisays and, you know, Kobe was out for a while. But you saw like the Chisays and the Shay, you know what I'm saying? I saw Kelly and Kia and Spider and, you know, I just started seeing all this plethora of different types of women. And I was like, oh, it's that time to come back out. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's that time to reappear, girl. And that's when I started really, like, I went to like Vogue nights in New York. And I think the first time I walked in Vogue nights in New York, I walked against Deja Vu. And we had like a close battle. It was like head to head. And she ended up getting the last vote. But I was like, they're cis women are getting more respect, and we have a category. You know what I'm saying? I look to the Danielles, the Razzle Dazzles, the Tiny Toons. Like, to me, those are the women that I really looked at coming in. Like, I was like, oh, Razzle Dazzle was fab to me.
Any other inspirations, even if they aren't like
cis women? Oh, mainly femme queens, honey. Right. No shade. Before I started looking at cis women, it was all femme queens for me. Like, to me, femme queen, in my opinion, is what created what we do. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I have to tell people too, like, even when you walk women's performance are like, or if we're trying to be like feminine in ballroom, like there's this hyper femininity that happens. Like, because at the end of the day, when it first came about, they were trying to emulate cisgender women, right? But cisgender women will go around shaking titties and touching pussies all day, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like, so there was this extra hyper femininity that you have to adapt in order to really eat it, in my opinion. And it came from the femme queens, you know? It came from the femme queens, you know what I'm saying? Like all the hair whips and dips and the cut, like all that came from femme queens. So I really looked to the femme queens. That was my first view, was femme queens. And then it wasn't until people started saying you should look up women's categories. That's when I really started looking at the women, the cisgender women. Like, but I honestly was pulling from Deja, you know what I'm saying, from Sanaya, like, you know what I'm saying, a lot of the chocolate queens, of course my auntie Laomi, but I already knew I could not do aerodynamics like her. My back wasn't doing all that. Jasmine, there's a lot of people. I was like, I don't want to leave nobody out because then I'm like, my mother Erica Kane. There was just so many femme queens that I looked to. Mercedes, that I was just like, this is over, and I want to Vogue like that. Like, to me, the epitome of women's performance is femme queen performance. I'm sorry. A cisgender women performance, to me, what makes it more women's performance? What is it? What? The fact that we had the genitalia and we're born? Like, you know what I'm saying? No. Like, you know what I'm saying? In my opinion, literally women's performance is femme queen performance. Like, so that was those are like my inspirations of how I got to where I was, like, and I honestly used to, like, when I was at the bar, I would run for femme queen performance. Like, I would be like, where is it? I want to see the girls that are eating it and carrying.
It's interesting that you put it like that. Like, it's the hyper feminization of the dance moves, because I didn't put it like that. You put it perfectly. I was saying that in a private conversation with somebody, that's why I think some of the women get judged.
They look dry, honey.
Right, they look dry because they're being too feminine and not giving that hyper feminine, like that aggressive.
They're giving cis women Vogue.
Right. So, do you think that they should judge women's performance on a different scale, or do you think it should just
no? Why? Because femme queen created what we do. Step your pussy up. That's how I see it. Okay. Like, we wouldn't be here without them. Like, so if you want to gain respect, work harder to do the work. I do feel like there's that double standard of femininity for cis women. Like, they expect every cis woman to be super cunt and hyper feminine. But on the opposite spectrum, like, the Bush queens are allowed to be as cunty. That I'm taking this off. It's pissing me off. Okay. I don't know why it's doing that. Is it gonna be in the shot?
It's okay.
Child. But to me, where was I at?
The cis women, it doesn't come off the same. They need to just go. They need to get the same essence that is expected.
Yeah.
When they step on the floor.
Okay, so I was saying something like you have to, like to me, you have to do the work to get to. Oh, I was talking about the double standard. So I feel like they don't realize like women, cis women come in different styles and shapes and types of Vogue as well. Like everyone's not going to be super hyper feminine. You have the more masculine presenting, the girls that want to come out in a boy short and a sneaker. You have the girls that want to come out in a Vogue femme boot and a cunty top. Like you have different versions of cis women, just like you have different versions of butch queens, of trans women, trans men, like the same thing. So stop holding all cis women to the same hyper feminine quality, and then y'all want to chop a girl if she's like more dramatic. Like I remember when I was coming out, there was a lot of like you had the dramatic girls, you had the non-dramatic girls. Like
it was more individuality.
Yeah, like Cheesay was dramatic caboodles. Like, you know what I'm saying? Then you had like Shay that was a mix of like dramatics, with some soft dips. Like then you had the Kellys that was softer, like, the Delilah, super soft. Like you have a variation of girls and they let that kind of be okay. And then I felt like they just started making it like you had to be like super hyper feminine.
I feel like they do that even with different Vogue categories too. Like even with Vogue film, like sometimes you'll have like 10 dramatic Voguers, and then the judges and then it'll be one soft and cunt, and they don't even do bad, but it's just underwhelming because I guess they looking for
the owl.
Yeah, the owl. So I don't know. I think they, like you said, it's just they don't allow people to just express their art the way they want to. Mm-hmm. So
that's the difference between dramatics and soft, though. Like to me, dramatics get the ooh and the owls, right? The softs get the and the yes.
Yeah,
it's two totally different feelings, And I tell people you have to realize that too. The crowd's not gonna look the same usually for a soft and cunt girl as they do for a dramatic girl. Like you just see the feeling looks different. Mm-hmm. But it's also like respectful styles. What's the point of having two different styles if you're not gonna respect it? And also know the differences, like what I'm saying, between the two. But let the girls be the girls. That's how I feel. Like I do feel like cis women do deserve more respect. But I also tell people I have the most heterosexual dominated category, and people look over that like it's nothing. I was like, if y'all had a bunch of straight boys walking Butch Queen both time, y'all be upset.
Yeah.
If y'all had a bunch of straight girls walking face and eating y'all, you know what I'm saying? Y'all be upset.
So how do you feel about so many women? Because like most of the women that I talk to, most of them are heterosexual. Mm-hmm. So how do you feel about so many heterosexual women being in an LGBT space? Because technically speaking, the scene was originally created for us, but I mean the scene was created for you as well because, you faced a lot of those, judgments growing up as well too. You didn't feel like you fit in anywhere. You felt queer coming up. Mm-hmm. So how do you feel about heterosexual women thriving in the scene?
I don't mind. I do feel like they push them to the forefront more than they do the queer girls. But I do feel like as long as they respect it where it's from, as long as they give back to the community in the right ways and not just for personal gain, not just for clout or status, but because they genuinely care about the community, I'm all for it. But if they don't even understand the culture, you don't see them with anybody of queer experience, then I question why they really here. But it's also not my place to tell them that they don't deserve to be here. But I would like to see more queer girls. I know that we're out there, but I would love a lot more to come to the scene so we aren't so heavily dominated by heterosexual women. Because it is frustrating sometimes. I'm like, I go to the ball, all the Butch Queens got something to look at, and then my gay ass is just sitting here like, all the girls are straight, bored, and then maybe I might get a little cute little trans man or somebody hit on me, or no shade, the Femme Queen Tops be getting it. But to me, it's like, it's weird. Because then I go to sit down with them. I can't even talk to them about queer things because they talking about their husbands or their cisgender partners. And I just feel weird. I feel like an outsider on the inside, which is weird. Yeah, and that's so weird to me because every other category in ballroom, I'm cool. But then I go to sit down with the girls that are in my category and I can't even talk about gay stuff with them.
So it's
awkward.
Childhood upbringing.
Yeah. But in the scene.
But in the scene. But in the gay scene.
But in the gay scene. Ain't it funny? But don't nobody care. They don't really care. They rarely care about women's categories anyway. That's why they always put us at the front of the ball or at the end of the ball, because they either know that they gonna miss us because they coming late, or they ain't gonna get to us because the ball gonna get in before us. Like, so I feel like that's a part of it too. Like, but do I want to see more queer women, like, of all experience? Yes, I would love to see that. And also, like, I would love to see more women of color as well. Like, you know, I feel like that's a huge lack now. You don't see that many chocolate girls on the floor as well either. So I miss that. It's more, they, like I said, they like to big up.
Why do you think that is though? Because I feel like just the American black woman, just average from you know, a predominantly urban environment, they behind gay men and behind trans women, they are the number one demographic that could benefit from it.
Black women have always been the bottom of the totem pole.
Everything.
Always. Since the beginning. Right? It's just always how it's been, and it sucks to say that, and I wish that our people would pull us to the front more. I'm trying not to cry. Right. I wasn't feeling emotional. Oh my God. Oh, okay. Hold it back. But I had a panel discussion with a bunch of black women from the scene. It was Kia, Spider, it was Delilah, Candace, all of the chocolate descent, and just to talk about like black cis women in ballroom. And a lot of us feel like we get looked over or not acknowledged as much. And we also realize a lot of us don't have it. Like, a lot of us don't come from means where we can travel to all these states quickly. Like, one thing that the international girls and the white girls have is the coin to travel from state to state. Sometimes they go to like 20 balls a year. Like, you're going to make your name faster if you walk in more. You know what I'm saying? And then they wonder why we don't come out. Honey, if I got to choose between whether I want to eat or go to a ball, maybe I want to eat today. You know, like, it's real struggles that black women be going to, and I feel like people don't check in on us. Oof, I'm about to cry again. People don't check in on us to like really see how we're doing, you know, but they'll be quick to like grab the white girl or grab the international girl and push them up. And it's like, that's cool and all, but what about us? Like, because we're the ones marching for y'all. We the ones standing next to y'all. We the ones in the same gym. You know, and then some people don't even understand queer life or queer problems, or think that black lives don't matter. You know what I'm saying? But they still highlight or at the forefront. So it does get rough, like, you know what I'm saying? But I do feel like we just like black women, we never quit. We here.
You want some fab Ballroom exclusive content on the Ballroom scene? Download Ballroom Culture TV app right now.
But everyone should be getting equal share. And that's how I feel too. Like, I feel like there is like this, still those European standards, which is completely unfair. You know, I believe we all deserve to get shine. And that's why I put so much, I feel like I put a lot of weight on myself. Like, and I'm very, what do I want to say? I criticize myself a lot because I know that I represent a lot. And I know that what I'm doing is trying to keep it as authentic as possible. So I'll turn down a job. I'll turn down a teaching experience. I'll turn down all that. I don't care.
Right.
I don't care. Yeah, I don't care. To me, if it's not done right with the right people, I don't want to be a part of it. But you have the opportunists that are willing to do those things just to get ahead. You know what I'm saying? Where
just to be able to say, I did this and the next person did.
To do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? And to me, I'd rather go with authentic. Like, a lot of people know I'm not the girl to be on Facebook every week posting what ball I was at or what I did in ballroom or what accolade I deserved. Like, I'm not in clips and dips posting my clip every week. I'm not on the internet saying, please watch me here, this, and this. I don't care about that. What I care about is for people like me that didn't have a place to find a home. That's what I care about. What's the scene going to look like in the future? Is it going to have us in it? Is it going to be space for Black and Latinos in it?
It will always be. And the reason why
you say that, but look what happened to hip hop. Look what happened to every other Black and brown style. I can go to learn Afro beats at the studio tomorrow. Ain't no Black teacher teaching Afro. ain't no black teacher teaching hip hop. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of issues. Even like getting cast. I go to auditions. I see the lighter getting cast over the people that have more talent.
Yeah, I was.
You know what I'm saying?
I was
Like,
about to speak to the hip hop scene as a consumer of hip hop music, but I'm not even thinking about the business side of the instructor, like the dance scenes. I'm not even thinking about that because I'm not, obviously I'm not a dancer. So it's like I didn't even really think about that. You do make a really good point.
All that, the producers, the production.
Yeah.
Do they look like us? No. Are they standing with us? And that's all what's gonna drive the rest of it. If the casters aren't
look like us, have the lowest level jobs.
Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Sometimes that's what it is. So
I'm all for supporting like everything and everybody, but it's also like you also have to realize if we don't support each other, we're gonna be pushed aside.
Yeah.
Like
that's not gonna happen. Mess with me. Like I already
look, not with me either. Okay, we
gonna make it happen.
Look, not with me either. That's what I said. I don't care. Like I do not care about any of that shit. I do not care about nothing. Like people are like, but you work with all these people. I'm grateful. I work with all these people, but the reason I work with who I work with was because I was able to work with them on my terms, on how I wanted it to be seen and how I wanted it to be viewed. Oof, I can't speak on everything.
Okay.
Because I'm very firm of like my business with them was my business with them. Yeah. And I thought that was my forever house. I'm gonna be honest. Like I was the one that like I wanted to be. I joined one house and that's my house forever. Lavin. I love being the Lavin. Like I really did. Like I love the cohesiveness. One of the main things was support. I just felt like I was the only cis girl in America that was walking a lot of the functions. So I would go to a ball. I'm walking against 10 girls from this house, 3 girls from that house. And I was always walking alone. Like I was grateful enough that I was winning, you know what I'm saying? But that was a lot on my body, a lot on my knees, like a lot on my soul. Like when I'm seeing like the Bush Queen squad got 20 people, they get to walk out back to back with each other. They get to cheer each other on, and I'm just walking out on the category by myself. Like, and then, or I got to be at the ball at 6 p.m. because my category is at 6. Don't nobody even get to, no one's there to cheer for me because nobody's coming till 10. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, support was a big factor. That I really wish they would have had more of. There was some things that happened after Legendary that I was sad about that really honestly made me go, I don't know if this is the house for me. And then when my dad chose to leave, honestly, my dad was the whole reason why I was in Lavin. Deshaun was one of my driving forces of wanting to really Vogue. Honestly, I wanted to be a runway girl or a face girl. I didn't have the face, and I still don't. I'm working on it, though. Nah, I got braces on right now. But I'm working on it. I don't have the clearest skin. I don't have the, like, up to the standards of Ballroom. I don't have it. Like, but no, I just felt like I really wanted to walk. I really wanted to be a runway girl for sure. Deshaun saw me Vogue, and he was like, nah, you need to Vogue. And I was like, but I want to pump the runway. Like, I really wanted to be a runway girl. And I was teeny at that time. Like, I know. Well, I'm stepping into that. I walked in the Kiki scene, but I actually walk all American as a boy. Yeah, I do. I walk as Logic. That's my male personality. I walk as a boy.
That.
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Yeah. I also came out as him in the mainstream like once or twice.
So that's like a drag king situation.
Kind of, but he only comes out once in an eon when I need to let the testosterone go. But yeah, so Deshaun saw me Vogue, and he was pretty much like, you need to Vogue, and this is your category. Like, I see it for you. So I really started, and I was already practicing Vogue, but it was just fun for me. But he really started, I actually started training with David Brandon, which is his best friend. That was my first, like, official, like, head on Ballroom every day coach. I would be at their house, and he'd be like, do that again. Be a Coke bottle, girl. I want you to spray. Like, and I'd be like, how do I spray? Like, trying to figure out how to Vogue. Because Deshaun was touring a lot, and he was already in the era of his life where he's traveling to a lot of countries to Vogue and teach Vogue. But whenever he was there, it was always like we was working.
Because you get a chance to see the city, right?
Yeah, but he was a driving force in me becoming a performance girl versus going towards the runway route. And then I was also training with Little Black, and they were kind of like the hub because I took my first Vogue class with Archie, Ninja. That's why I was like the Ninja days. And then I started with Benny, and then Javi, and Danielle, of course, Naomi, Omari, the whole thing. Because I like to learn from the legends and the icons. But it was mainly me being a kid, and I really worked hard to like get better. But then when my dad saw me voguing, and when I was in La Vin, I told him, I was like, I'm just tired of always having to walk by myself. I want a squad too. Like, I want a squad too. I want the support. I don't want to go to a ball, have to bother all these girls from all these other houses all the time. I'm getting older. Like, where is the help? Like, and honestly, after he had left, like, he didn't even tell me that he left till after he left. So I was still there with Lavin. And then I just felt like, why am I here? Like, I don't want to be LA mother of Lavin.
Do you know why he left? Because a lot of people
I
tell me that
do.
he just wanted to get his house on Legendary.
No, that was not the case. First off, we were already shooting a pilot for Legendary for like 3-4 years before it even came to be an actual thing. And he was supposed to be on the original squad with us. That's the gag. He was actually supposed to be on the performance team, but then the more he met with them, he went the house route, and Jack came in as the consultant / one of the producers, all et cetera, et cetera. But he was on our original squad to be a part of the show. But that had nothing to do with why he left. He has his own reason, and I can't give out his own business. That's for him to tell. Right, and he chooses not to do that story, then that's him. Right. But he did choose to leave. And I was like, fuck, now I'm here. Like, and I felt like my heart was going two different ways because we had already done Legendary. Right, I was already on TV, known as Packrat
Basquiat. So that was like a whole.
So that was a whole thing that I was stressed about. I was like, now I'm about this, but then me and the house I'm not seeing it as my forever house anymore. So do I leave and mess up this brand that we just built like on the show? Because everybody was like hiring us as the House of Lavin from the show. So there was that whole thing going through my head, like, but what if we miss out on gigs because now they don't understand that we're in two separate houses? Because the mainstream people don't get real ballroom. Right. Most people think that the 5 people on the show is literally the house, and that's the only people in the house. So they do. Damn. The amount of people in my inbox like, I love that your house, the 5 of you are the best house around. I was like, first off, there's hundreds, right. And I'm not in that house anymore. No shade. So it's always a discussion about that too. Even still that we have our fan page up and it says the House of Lavin, that's an issue as well. Because they're like, but half of y'all are Basquiat now. How does that make sense? And I'm like, honey, if y'all would get involved, y'all understand people switch houses, girl. But for continuity of the show, we had to keep our fan page as the House of Lavin. So that's been rough. Like but when he left, like I just didn't feel like it was my home as much anymore too. Like, that's my dad. Like, I don't want to be where my dad isn't. Like, you know what I'm saying? He was the whole reason I was brought here anyway. And then I also wouldn't want to be nobody's parent after he was just the parent of this coast. Like, why would I now? I felt like it's like second best. Like, we're only asking you to do it because now we don't have it. Right. Like, you know, and that's kind of how I felt. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take a break entirely. I didn't see myself where my dad wanted me to be. Like, if he wasn't there, I was going to be there. Because like I said, I also didn't want the leadership role in that house because one, it was also like, these are also my siblings. Why would I now want to be the mother of my siblings? Like, that's weird. Right. That is so weird. Like, and are they even going to respect me? Like, because we were siblings the whole time. And now I'm trying to be, it just didn't feel right. And it felt weird. And also I was like, some of the issues that we did have, I was like, if you didn't fix it for 2 icons, because we had Deshaun and Divine at the time, why would you fix it for me? That's how I thought. You had icons here, and if you didn't fix it for them, why would you fix it for me?
And Divine, that's the one that's in Gucci.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, so that thing. So I took a break. I honestly braked. I talked to Deshaun before when he thought about starting a house, because he wanted me to come, and I was like, I just want to pause, because I also didn't want to be in the middle of the drama. The Loudness was trying to get me to come back to the house. The Basquiat wanted me to go there. And I honestly just felt like I needed a break. I was also dealing with a lot of health issues at the time. I had caught COVID on the show, gag. So Jeter ended up having COVID. We didn't know at the time because there was no test for it. So they thought it was like a flu or something.
Because y'all was filming right when COVID got hit to America.
Yeah, so literally that had happened, and they already had 4 members on their team. So they was like, if he can't perform this week, they going home and y'all are going in the bottom. So Jeter was like, well, I'm going to come. So Jeter was sick as a dog, performed with us, and we ended up in the bottom anyway. Because I felt like they just wanted to get rid of the Gucci's because they already have 4 members. I really think it was just, like, I think the Gucci's are fab, but I think that the show was just like, they already have 4 people. How does that look with them going to the, I tell people commercialism is commercialism, and they're going to do what's going to sell the show. So we ended up in the bottom anyway, but I ended up catching COVID the minute the show ended, because after we filmed the last episode, they was like, y'all got to get out. Like, so we had to pack our bags and hit it. And I got my whole family sick because I was already on the East Coast. I stayed home for a little bit longer. We were filming in Connecticut. So I went back to Jersey to hang with my family. We all got sick. I came back, all of a sudden it had weakened my immune system.
Oh.
So I ended up having severe sinusitis. I had lung issues. And
Are you still dealing with those?
Still dealing with it. So I've been in and out of hospital. I know. So that was also a part of me taking a break, because it was like, people aren't being safe. People at ballrooms don't be safe all the time. Like, you know what I'm saying? The girls be doing whatever with whoever and then coming to the ball. So I was like, I can't risk getting any sicker than I am already. Like,
and that was another reason for you to like
stay away. I was like, the drama and health. So let me just take a break. But I did get all the booster shots and all the shots and stuff. It just didn't help. So I really just been working on dealing with my immune system and trying to get that back up to par. I have to get a surgery in January.
Surgery?
Yeah, I have to get nasal surgery to open up my sinus pathways, because apparently it closed off my entire sinuses. So I have sinus infections in my eyes here, and then these sinuses here are completely closed. I had a sinus infection one time. It just feel like a whole bunch of pressure. Yeah, so I get frequent headaches. Sometimes I'm so tired that I can't get out of bed. So I was dealing with that. And the one thing I will say about the Basquiats is that they were always checking in on me. And I don't think it was just because it was my dad, but there was other members in the house that were just like, are you okay? Like when I was doing OTA LA, with Lego had brought it over here, and I was actually the West Coast liaison. And that's part of the reason why I actually paused it too, because of health. Also funding. People didn't want to fund a Black queer woman. And we weren't getting as much numbers as the other balls. But when I was doing that whole situation, the Basquiats came out in numbers to support me. Other houses said they wanted me, but they wouldn't show up to the functions. Like, or I would go somewhere else, the Basquiats would clap for me and cheer for me. Yeah, and I was like, wow, like they're really supporting me. And even just the fact that they cared about my life that much. And then while I was still dealing with my health issue, I ended up losing one of my both kids. So they ended up passing away. They don't know the complete cause of death, but I've heard the rumors that it could have been fentanyl. So, but the whole Basquiat, he was in the house of Basquiat through my dad. He found my house, because I'm in there now, through me introducing him to my dad. But when he passed away, I took it very heavily, because I felt like I was sick. I wasn't around to guide him as much, because I was worried about my health. And I wasn't completely able to be there during his journey. And that took me to pieces, because pretty much like he was found dead in his house by one of his, we were searching for him that whole day, because pretty much he don't miss work. He was working dancer. He don't miss work, and he didn't answer, so we went searching for him. His cousin, no one had the key to his house at the time. His cousin, we don't know how many days he was there. I think it was only maybe 2 or 3 days, because he had worked an event that Wednesday, so we all saw him, but by that Sunday he was gone. So that took me really rough, and I was out of it. I could not eat, sleep. I was crying all the time. I was still sick, so it was just a lot going on in my head. But I had the Basquiats would come to my house. Even like at that time, Zay was living here. Carlos was commuting from Atlanta to live here to work. So my fam from the show, even though, they came over to my house to cry with me too.
Do you see yourself ever stepping into a position of leadership in Basquiat, or is that even important to you?
If they want me to, of course I would be open to it. I'm definitely down to, do I feel like I need it to further my ballroom career? No. I feel like some people take the positions to move up in the chain. I don't feel like I need it for those reasons, but if they see me to the point where they want me to be a leader, I would be open to being a leader. I'm just grateful, like I said, that I'm here.
Right.
We still alive. We fighting a good fight.
Right.
But I'm definitely open to leadership roles. I think that I haven't taken them on. One, because I got offered to be in other houses. I did before I went with Basquiat. I just didn't feel like all those houses cared about me as a person. I think that they cared about who I look like from the outside, like, you know, what I do for the, like, in and out of the community. Seeing me on a TV screen, they saw where their name could go, and not necessarily who I was as a person. So that made me go, I don't think I want to go to these other places. And I think that's also what made me really go with Basquiat, was because not only are they business savvy, not only do they care about their members, but they also are about authenticity.
It felt like family.
It felt like family. Like, my best way to say it is, it didn't feel like a house; it felt like a home.
So, if you could just describe the main core about, because I'm different. I like the relationship I have with my house. I like for it to feel like business. That's just me, just because of different reasons. But what are your core? So for any house that I'm in, I have to respect the founder.
Mm-hmm.
If I look online and see you showing your ass, like acting the ass or something like that, I can't be in your house. The reputation of the house has to be intact. Like, I don't want to be known as being a bunch of fools, right?
Yeah.
So what is important for you, being in the house? Not just saying specifically for Basquiat, but for Packrat. What are the core fundamentals of, or what is required for you to be comfortable joining a house and knowing that you are, at heart, a loner?
Yeah, I am a loner. Honestly, like, first off, family. Like, if I can't mesh well with people, like, why am I there? Like, because that was the whole thing that brought me to Ballroom anyway, having those people that I can have queer conversations with, to go do gay shit with, like, no shade. So if I don't have that off rip, it's automatically a chop for me. To care about each other's well-being inside and outside of Ballroom. A lot of people only care about winning trophies and the accolades you can get in Ballroom, but it's like, what are you doing in your real life? Like, do you have a place to live? Are you eating every day? You know, to me,
some of these people that's out there winning
are still not eating and aren't eating.
Yeah, like, it is sometimes, like, we make fun of people, like, being at a bar and stinking, but they don't know this person didn't have nowhere to sleep last night.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know this person didn't even have no clean clothes. That's why they at this bar. Now, why they at a bar, and then, they got their priorities fucked up. That's a whole different story.
But their house might not care either, as long as they win in the trophy. You know, so that's something for me too. Is like, how are we doing on both sides of the spectrum? What are we doing in our real lives? Like, are we all okay? Are we all healthy? Are we all supporting each other? Are we all growing as individuals? But also the business aspect, because I'm a very business-oriented girl. You know what I'm saying? I like to have my things in order, you know? So it's also like, okay, what do you plan on doing with the house? Where can we go with this house? Like, you know what I'm saying? You know, if you do a TV show, or if you get a campaign like we did in Lavin, do people know how to manage the coin? You know what I'm saying? Do people know how to negotiate with the production team to make sure that we're getting paid the right amount for what we're doing? You know what I'm saying? Do we have people that are able to make these concepts, to be in these production corners? You know what I'm saying? If not, are they willing to get the knowledge or train? Because some people want to do it, but they're not willing to put the work in. You know what I'm saying? They want the accolade, but they don't want to do the work.
Right. They
So
want the finished product. They want the shot. They want the cake, but they don't want to make it.
Yeah. So it's also like that business savvy. Like, and if you're not, I'm not saying you have to be super business savvy, but like, are you willing to learn and grow as a family? Yeah. You know, so that was important to me. Also, since I'm already in the entertainment industry, like my whole career, like I've been splitting myself. Since I've been in Ballroom, I've been going to balls, and sometimes I can't make it because I'm casted for something, or, you know, or vice versa. Like, okay, I'm casted for this, but I still got 2 days in the weekend, so I'm gonna hit a ball on Saturday. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or like, You know, like sometimes I go to different cities. I'm like, okay, is there a ball around this time that I can hit while I'm on this job? Like, you know, so I like both sides. I like the business and I like the family aspect at the same time, because I feel like they work hand in hand, especially if you want to have a successful house. I will say the House of Basquiat is super new, so there's a lot of like having to have your face out there too, because they have to develop their, you know, their the report as a house. So there is that aspect of like, you can't just sit and be a sitting duck, honey. You got to be outside. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you got to be doing something to bring the house name to the light. But that also keeps me on my toes and makes me practice and makes me do what I need to do so that I can be in those roles. But I already knew, like, since I started off as a 007 and made my name as my own before I even joined Lavin, you know what I'm saying? I was already booking work and stuff as a 007 before I even started attaching Lavin to my name, you know? So I already knew the power of what I had to offer to the house. So it was also not what can I bring, but what can you also bring? What can we both bring to the table to help us both elevate? So that was something I was looking for too. I didn't want to just go to a house and then I'm the name. You know what I'm saying?
And you making the house.
Yeah, like
you want to bring your full plate to the already established, well, not already established table, but you just want to.
People that also have plates.
You want to have a plate. Right?
Everybody has a plate. We all eating. We all eating. That's what I wanted. Not certain people are trying to eat and then trying to leave the rest. Yeah. Right. Like I wanted a place where we can all eat and grow and we all see the general vision. And I felt like Basquiat was that place for me. Like, you know, they just really, even when I had a conversation with them about being in the house, they was very, first off, they tried it. He was like, daughter, come home. And I said, oh, yes, I did. And he did it while I was at a ball too. That was the gag of the century. Like I ended up being on a panel because that was a whole thing. People were giving me shit because they like, she's a Basquiat. Like, how was she on the panel? I was like, first off, I'm not. That's my dad, and he's never gonna stop being my dad just because he went to a new house. So cool it, pump your brakes, bitch. But he was sitting next to me on the panel. He was like, so you might as well just come home. Like, and I was like, okay, like we'll have a conversation. And then, you know, we ended up being where we are now. You know, yeah. So I think that's how I got here. There's no hard feelings against the House of Lavin. I still love them. I still will always respect them and the family that I made while I was there. Like, you know, they still my family. I still call the same mothers that I call mothers in Lavin my mothers, even though I'm in another house. Erica, you know, and even my mother Erica came with the Margella, still my mother, even though she in Margella, even though you know, she was my Philly mother.
I love her too. I'm supposed to catch up with her sometime. We're gonna do it one day.
Yeah, but I tell people like you can't let you moving houses or going somewhere else stop your friendships that you had there. Because I see that happen. Like people say, oh, well, I want to sit her now that she's in this house. Like, and I've never been that girl to give that energy to anybody. I tell people I don't hate or dislike anybody. There's certain energies that I will pump my brakes around because I know that we just don't mesh well together. Yeah. But I'm never gonna wish ill on anybody. I never look down on nobody. I always try to spread love and light because that's what I want out of the community, and that's what the ballroom community gave to me. You know, so I tell people like I'm not here for the drama or shade. Some people are. I'm not here for the drama or shade. I'm here for the community. I'm here for the love, and I'm here for us continuing to build and grow and become better in ballroom. Like that's.
I definitely respect that. That's
yeah. Dope. Like
so, speaking of like love and relationships,
I'm single and ready to mingle. So I'm just
kidding. So I know you are bisexual or pants. I don't even know like what the term.
It's okay.
It's whatever. But you are very like open-minded sexually.
Yeah.
What does your ideal relationship look like?
Yeah, so I feel like people would want me to say that I'm pan because I'm open to dating everyone. I like boys and girls. That's what I like. You know what I'm saying? No shade. Women and men of all forms. So I'm not opposed, but I just feel like now there's just so many terminologies and people try to categorize you into a box now to place your queerness. Like, bitch, I'm gay. Hi, my name is Packrat Basquiat and I'm gay. Like, that's what I say. Like, I only chose a term because nowadays it's kind of like you have to. The first thing people say are, what are your pronouns? What's your sexual identity? Like, people literally ask you that questions. For those who need it, yay for them. I'm not opposing to say that we don't need it. For the girls that works for, yes. For me, I'm happy being girl. You just a gay girl. Like I'm happy with that. But my idea of relationship would just be like an equal partnership. Like I saw that with my parents. Like even though they did have their gender roles involved. Like 50-50 where it's at. Like, you know what I'm saying? I help you, you help me, we grow together. It's a team. You know what I'm saying? I've been in so many relationships that I would say was Build-A-Bear relationships. Like, for real, like, I'm stuffing you, I'm fluffing you, I'm trying to help you grow, I'm telling you how great you are, you know.
Just all break apart.
And the stuffing fall out and the head fall off. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm tired of just building people up. Like, match me. Meet me here. Like, I want somebody that's willing and open to meet me here. Like, whatever that may look like. And I'm not like a super materialistic girl. I tell people, yes, I got my nails done and I do my things, you know what I'm saying? But it's not like I'm a die if I don't got my nails done or my hair did. Like, I also have the tradie side of me that's very like STEM. You know what I'm saying? I have the femme, I have the STEM. Never the stud, but I love some studs. But I'm more STEM femme. So you're not always gonna catch me up in a whole geesh with my makeup done and my shoes on. Like, you know, sometimes I'm gonna be in a sweatpant and a white Vita and my stop asking the girls to always be in the heel. Yeah. All the girls don't gotta be in the heel all the time.
I always said it, like, if I was a woman, that's probably how I would be. Like,
yeah, like I don't gotta be in the heel all day. Sometimes I wanna be in a sneaker. Sometimes I wanna be in a flop, a sliding sock.
Shoes on all day, like they would hurt my feet. So let alone a heel. Like, you know what I'm
saying? Like, so for me, as long as someone's open and honest, honesty is very big with me. Like, be honest about who you are and what you choose to do in your life. Because I cannot take a liar. Been there and done that, and it's detrimental to my life. I'm to the point now where, like, I'm 34, so I'm like, if you're not willing to do the work, and I want somebody that's a forever person. I'm very monogamous. I'm not poly. Support the poly girls. But I'm the type of person where I want to find my person, and we can work together to build and grow and be there for each other.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
So I remember when we was talking before the interview, you said something that like really shocked me because I'm not used to like black women saying this. You said that you could possibly date a bisexual man.
Oh yes, not possibly. I would.
Right. So
I would.
A lot. Like, I can't even, like, I've had so many female friends over the years. Like, they will be in a whole relationship with studs, and then they'll say like they could never date a bisexual man, and I'm like, you are bisexual. You know what I'm saying? So I never understood that, and I always just chalked it up to the conservativeness that is passed down to black women through
generational trauma. No shade.
So how do you get past that?
Honestly, I don't really see it. In my opinion, I don't see it as an issue. You know, like, I've always been a person where, like, I don't know, like, if I'm like, if I want to be with a girl, I want to be with a girl. If I want to be with a guy, I want to be with a guy. Like, I don't really enjoy straps. I'll be honest. I know this is a little digging along, but it's plastic. Yeah, it's plastic. It doesn't feel like anything to me. Like I can't feel you through the plastic. Like, I can see your emotion, but that's like, it's something about like seeing it go. Like, I know I did that. Like, that maybe that's the testosterone in me, knowing that I made it, you know, do what it do. But it's like, I don't see that. That's why I tell people, like, I also like dating a lot of femmes and stems, like, because studs always want to strap you down, honey. And I'm like, honey, like, you know, and then they're, I'm sorry.
The studs want to strap you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. The studs began fun?
Oh, wow. Or they want me to strap them. I said, I don't got no problem, you know, topping. No shade. I'm a verse. Okay. Or what they say in women community, switch. Whichever one. Yeah. I like verse better. No shade.
Right.
But yeah, I don't have a problem with it. Like, okay, like, you know, if I like you a lot, that's cool. But I also feel like if I want that masculine of an energy, I'd rather just be with a boy. That's just how I feel. Like, if I want to be with a feminine energy, I want you to be feminine. Some studs are feminine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they can play both. They may seem like they super mass, but they be a cunt in a bedroom. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or, you know, or very feminine regular life. You know, so that's why I said to each person they own, and you kind of just got to know that person and be open to who they are.
So you would probably have to be with somebody like more like spiritual, like Erykah Badu.
Nah, it's not even giving all that. Nah, it's not even giving all that. Like, I'm just open to love, and I'm open to amazing people. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what I said. To me, bisexual men, like, I feel like they get jaded. Bisexual, anybody get jaded. Like, even when I'm with a girl, they assume that I'm going to leave them for a guy. They're like, oh well, you're just gonna leave it. I don't mess with bisexual girls because
I feel like in Black America, bisexual doesn't exist.
It does.
It does, but it doesn't.
It's the same thing for women.
If you are a bisexual man, you're gay to Black America.
It's the same thing with cis women. I just feel like I think they just over sexualize it because there was that whole thing about like lesbians being together and kissing each other. Like that's a fetish of a lot of like heterosexual men. Right. So I do feel like we're over glorified in that type of thing. Like, so I do think there's still that double standard too when it comes to male versus female sexuality. You know what I'm saying? And it's unfortunate, because I do feel like a lot of bisexual men do get the hard end of the stick. But I've also tried to date bisexual men that was actually really just a butch queen. Like they was just gay. But they were scared of the stigma from their family or they were scared of the stigma from their friends. So they decided to act like the trade. But they was just gay. Like, so I do feel like some people adapted because they're more scared to just be considered the whole category of something else. But there are the true bisexual people that are open to dating both sides. Like, to me, I don't prefer one over the other. It's who want me. Like, no shade. Right. And right now, all of the parties everywhere don't want what I'm saying? So I tell people it's that too. Like, I'm not opposed to anybody. Like I'll date a trans man, I'll date a trans woman, I'll date cis women, non-binary, non-binary. I tell people I don't truly get it. It's not my lifestyle to get, but it is my lifestyle to understand. Right. You're not always going to get everything. Like I can't get what trans people go through because I'm not trans.
It's not up to get it, but it's up to us to
understand and respect. Understand and respect. And that's my thing. I always aim to understand and respect, but I'm not always going to get it. So don't expect everybody to get it. Like, I feel like sometimes people get upset if you don't get something. It's like, I didn't have to live through it, so I'm not going to be able to fully understand. I wish I could, but I can empathize and I can be here for you. What I can do is support you and understand, so I also say that as well, like be more lenient with people in their understanding and know that we're trying and we're growing together as a unit. Now, if a girl's trying it, then try them. But I know as a cis woman, I've dealt with that a lot, especially within the trans community, of people treating me weird because a different cis girl hurt them. Or they had bad experiences with a different cis girl. So they go like this to me or push me off or say mean things to me thinking I'm going to do the same shit. I'm like, everybody's not the same. Every apple is not a bad apple. So that's how I feel about that. But I'm open to everybody. Open to all, honey. Open to all.
That's what's up. Yeah. For me, it's a breath of fresh air because, like I said, I've grown up with female friends that bisexual for men does not exist. Even some of the like podcasts I listen to and stuff like that.
They say that they would never.
Yeah, they would never. But then,
but you did.
But in the next conversation, they'll talk about how they was eating. Like, how?
But you did because half these times these butch queens was smashing you because they was the trade and they didn't even tell you, honey. Would you rather know or would you rather not know? That's really what it is. True. Would you rather know or not know?
Yeah, for real.
Because I don't have a problem with it. I think if I had a sickening butch queen, you could do my hair, I could do your we could both be pumping the ball to the tag team performance. That would be cute, no shade.
I feel like having that outlook is going to really direct you into a relationship where you're going to have a true connection with somebody, a true friendship with somebody, and that's really what's going to make it last.
That's the goal.
When you focus on somebody that you just attracted to, or when you are looking at somebody that you think is going to look good on your arm by society standards, that's when you fuck up and you start choosing the wrong people. So
I don't believe in choosing love. I also believe in it. You finding each other. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't think it's a one-sided thing because I do think a lot of women of all genders and sexualities have a thing where they like to wait for it to come to them. And then you wonder why you're not getting what you want. Honey, sometimes you have to have a little aggression or you have to speak up and talk and not be afraid to do that too. I tell people that's one thing that it's hard being a femme-presenting queer woman because hitting on people... And hitting on people is hard. I could go to the club, and that's also the problem with a lot of cis straight girls in the scene. I go to the club, think you gay, or go to the ball, think you gay, and you're like, no, honey, I got a boyfriend, and I actually have 2 kids and a man, and I'm like, well, where is the people for me? Like, I'm going to the queer community to queer events, hoping that I could find somebody queer there, just like the Bush Queens be finding each other, the trans be finding each other, and ain't they all straight? So it's those issues that I deal with too. It's like, and then I like, even if I be like, oh, you cute, I have to do more than just say, oh, you cute, because girls say that to each other. Oh, your outfit's cute, you look cute. I have to be like, oh, you're cute. Do you want to go on a date? Like, I have to be aggressive.
Right. How do women flirt with each other?
I have to say that, because otherwise they just think it's a compliment. No, I actually think you're attractive. I actually think you're like, I want to date you.
It's actually kind of a problem with male on male too, because sometimes like some guys would be like, they'll compliment your shoes or something, but that's not a clear sign to me. You know,
but you can also
I got on like some regular ass shoes, and you ask me where, you know where I got these shoes from.
But you can also go to a gay club and know that people there are gay. I go to the gay club and it's the heterosexual girl with her Butch Queen friends. It's a pot of straight girls there because they just like how it feels when Butch Queens compliment them.
And some of the females, they tell me, not just in ballroom, but just in general, they say that they like to go to gay clubs because when they ass get grabbed or they get fondled, they know it's all in fun and they not actually getting like
they like the attention without the
sexual
without knowing that they're actually desired.
Yeah,
I will say I feel that way when I walk sex siren. Because
right.
People aren't really into me, so I could be as sexy as I want because I don't got to worry about like people really gawking at me. And that was a whole different thing. I started walking that because same thing. I was never looked at the cute girl. People thought I was ugly, for being darker. So I was like, I want to be looked at as sexy too, So I started walking more sex siren, and then I also got more cut in my outfits when I started walking performance. Yeah,
we need to eradicate that though. That whole dark skin thing, like.
But it's true.
It's true, but we need to
work towards making it better for sure.
That just don't make no sense to me.
Oh no, it don't make it to me either. But I'm hoping that we get to a point where it gets better. But that's where we are currently at this stage in time. It's like I tell people I had a young girl from like Brazil ask me the other day. She was just like, where do you channel your femininity from? Like, I struggle with like femininity or feeling sexy, sometimes. And I'm just like, you actually got to look inside yourself and find out what inspires you. Like, I'm really inspired by like old Hollywood and, the chocolate femme queens, no shade. One of my favorites right now is Pandora. I love me some Pandora. I just love the feeling she gives, the energy she gives. There's certain people I really enjoy just watching them perform. But I felt like that sexiness, really came from not being wanted. Yeah. And I really pulled from that and was like, you know what, I'm going to make you see it. And it was like, it's sad to say, like, a lot of times the person I am on the floor is me pulling from areas of sadness. Like, I'm not a mean person, so I don't have no reason to be shady to you when I walk. So I have to find what would make me feel shady when I walk. Like, what I'm saying? So I either have to pull on that negative experience that I had when I was a kid, of me being an outcast, or pull on what somebody said to me that I don't deserve to be here or whatever. And that's what makes me find those shady moments or like those moments. Like, it is. It is.
Used to do that.
It is.
I used to walk thug. I'm retired. I used to walk thug realness, and sometimes I'd be in the bar. I'm having a good time. I might have a drink, and then now I gotta walk. I would instantly start putting myself mentally in a bad place, so I'm ready for the pushing and the shoving and the hyper masculine energy. And I would just think to myself, like, I'm literally putting myself in a negative headspace for this category. So I think that's unhealthy for you as well.
It's very unhealthy. Do we need to deal with our traumas? Yes. Like, I think that's a big thing. Like, but that's also a part of the scene of pulling from those traumas, and those traumas also help to make us strong. So I don't believe in forgetting traumas. I do believe in working through your trauma, and finding better ways to get to those spaces. But the truth of the matter is, my Vogue didn't really blossom until I was going through shit. Like, my Vogue, to me, like, I see old clips of me, and I'm one of the few girls that my whole journey of ballroom is on mine. Like, girls can walk back to when I'm a kitten and see me looking a fool, like, in my opinion. And girls was gassing me at that time because there wasn't that many cis women, like, that was really out. Yeah, so people was gassing me, but I look at them clips and I'm like, y'all was okaying me to look like this? Like, y'all are crazy. Like, I'm so glad I didn't join the house early because y'all would have had me looking a mess. Like, but I think it was those moments that allowed me to grow into my Vogue because I actually had something to say. Like, if you don't have nothing to say, you see it. I could turn on right now and see a bunch of girls walking Vogue Femme, walking Butch Queen, Twist or whatever, and they look crazy. Like, you could, like, they look, there's a difference between living it and learning it. And you can tell. You can tell who took a class and learned it. You can tell who literally lived it in their performance. Like, the ones that make you say, ow, odds are, they're the ones that lived it. You know, and people are wondering what's that missing factor. It's the fact that everyone's learning it now. The kittens that are here now, the little bubble guppies, that's what I call them, like the little baby fish, like pretty much they are literally learning it from watching a pose, watching a legendary, taking a class, and it looks different. It feels different. And to me, that's the missing piece from ballroom, is that a lot of it's not real anymore. You know what I'm saying? That's why you have, to me, there's certain icons, like the icons and the legends of the scene now look that way. They all look different. You look at their performance, all their clips is different, all their feelings is different because no one had did it before them. Now you got a lot of copycat people that literally look like Baby Leomis, look like Baby Deschamps, look like because they're watching the clips and copying exactly the same move.
And also, I think it's like the judges sometimes are so strict on people doing new and inventive things, so where they just gonna emulate what they seen work before.
But people's being pussy, no shade, because they was doing that to Leomi. I've seen clips of Leomi in her younger years where people was like, that's not Vogue, because she was doing 360s and stuff before people was doing it. I've seen clips of other people like doing the same thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? To me, it's like, but do you have the confidence to keep going? To push through those barriers of people telling you. If I would have stopped when people told me to stop voguing, I would have never been here. No many people told me, like, you need to switch up your Vogue. You need to Vogue like this person. You need to watch clips of this person and Vogue like them. No, I'm going to Vogue like Packrat. And I'm going to develop my own style. I'm quirky sometimes. I do weird stuff sometimes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes I'm super sexy. Like, sometimes I'm Benji kind. Like, whatever I'm feeling that day or whatever I have to say from my chest or what I was going through that I need to let out, it's still my outlet. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's my outlet from the real world and the hardships of my life. Really. Like, I really walk when I've been going through shit. Like, literally, if I was stressed out or a bill was late, bitch, or, you know, or her EBT was late, honey, she's giving, girl, I need to go to a ball. Let me feel it. Like, you know, but not everybody goes for that reason. Now people literally going for the money or the trophies or the accolades. I was walking before they was giving out money. It was giving a drink ticket and clout. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so to me, the money is an added bonus, a trophy bonus. Like, you know what I'm saying? So to me, it's like, I get it, but at the same time, like, grow up, step up, like, and do the work. Do the work and don't expect everything to be handed to you. Like, it's okay to develop your own style. It's okay to create, you know?
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I pride myself on, is to keep creating and do my own style the way I like to do it. Like,
most definitely. That is so dope.
Thank you.
I really appreciate, you know, just your outlook on life, not even just ballroom.
Thank you.
Since we just went for my last question, since we went over all that, you know, what's wrong with it, I want you to name some of the good things about ballroom.
Of course.
And we already kind of have.
Yeah.
You know, with the talks about family and, you know, I guess, yeah, just anything. It could be like the structure and around the balls, the actual events themselves, or it could be like the family, house, dynamic, anything. What are the best elements about ballroom to you?
Okay. Well, I definitely will say that it's a rock and a hard place. That's what I will say for me, because I have so much positivity, but there's still so much work to be done. I don't consider it negative. I think it's just growth. Like, that's what I say. I never really consider anything like super negative. I think it's more we have to grow. We have to expand and we have to evolve. I think ballroom is growing faster than we can evolve it. Faster than icons and legends are willing to step up and help evolve it. Now that it has been super televised and commercialized. I think that we need, like you said, more leaders to be in these positions, because if it's not us, it's not going to be us. So the good parts, I will say, is one, togetherness. There's still spaces for queer people to feel at home. If they need somewhere to find a place where they can feel loved, or to see people that look like them, or or want to just dress up and feel fab, like it's still that space there for them. I do feel like we are catapulting it to a point where now the girls can make money and get booked off it. Like a lot of people resort to sex work and lives in the streets because they don't have any option outside of that, or even just being able to get on their feet. But now you could be a stylist, a hairdresser, walking the runways, pumping the runways, voguing down the runways. Like, you got the people that walk best dressed actually on these red carpets now. Like, you know what I'm saying? You have people like Trace, you have people like, you know what I'm saying, like all these people from everybody from Pose, like, you know what I'm saying? You have Laomi, Deshawn.
You have to put your own effort into, and you have to know what you want.
Yeah.
You have to go after.
Yeah, my thing is too, it's like not being scared to fall. Right? I think a lot of people are scared. They think it's failure. It's not failure. It's a life lesson. It's a lesson. I think every time that I don't get something, the amount of auditions I did before I even booked a job, the amount of studios I tried to work out before they even let me teach, right? All those moments said, okay, go back to the drawing board, do better, be better. Like, that's what I said. It sucks to say, but being a Black woman helped me. Knowing that I had to do 120%, I always went back, okay, let's try to do it better. Let's try to make it better. And how can we evolve it to make it do better? But if you are not willing to do those steps, then how do you ever expect to get there? No one's just gonna hand you a cookie, or like, you know what I'm saying? You gotta put in the batter, mix it up, add your eggs and milk, whatever, and stir it up and bake it. Like, so I think it's just those things to add to it. But a lot of people, more people are willing to step up now. I do feel like a lot of people are leaning on like shows like Legendary to be the thing that makes them get to that next point in their life, not realizing that there's so many other ways to get there.
They don't realize that their own talent and their own creativity is the reason why they want them on the show.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't even see their own power.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't even see that these platforms that we're running and rushing to get to, we can build our own platform.
It's
just
us.
As big.
It's us that are making them fab. I tell people, if there was no season 1 of Legendary, there would have been no season 2 or 3. They would have got no Emmy if season 1 did bad. Let's be real. The Emmy would have never happened if season 1 was trash. Like, so there's a lot of people like, and even everybody on season 1, I feel like we can all agree, even though they're not here, like, know that we were the stepping stone for the show to get better.
Didi would definitely tell you.
You know what I'm saying? But it's true. We went through them not understanding where the show was going to go or what to do with it. Because they were trying to make that joint Bad Girls Club Ballroom, honey. Okay. Oh, honey, there was times where they was lying to me, telling me that people was talking shit about me just to try to get me to say something bad about somebody else. And I was like, honey, you're not going to do me. What you're not going to do is do me, honey.
Playing the dirty like
oh,
that.
Yeah. And then I had to. I was stepping to people off camera talking about, so you said so-and-so. No, they told me you were saying this about me. Okay, so now I know it's them. Like, let me go have a talk with this producer. Like, you know what I'm saying? So there was times where, there was those moments, you know what I'm saying? And there was times where Ballroom, got the best of us, if you would say it, like in TV, commercialism. Like, people don't realize that TV is still TV. Like, their whole thing is they're trying to make a show to make money. They're not always concerned about your best interest or what.
In drama sales.
Like,
we could do this interview, just guesstimated, it's probably going to get anywhere between 3,000 to 5,000 views. If you was on here ripping people to shreds, reading people, doing all this, it'd probably get 100,000.
Oh yeah.
That's
they don't want to hear
work.
They don't want to hear the positive things.
Look at the Shade Room. Like, if they do post positive things, I don't know if they do, but if they do, I'm pretty sure them posts don't get
as much
engaged
as the drama.
So yeah, they.
You know how many times we were hugging backstage? We was hugging. We was having real conversations about life, crying together, like being grateful. They didn't get that on camera.
Right.
They didn't get that on camera. They don't want to see you crying over how happy you are. They want to hear this person behind. Well, I think they should have went home. That's the clip that they got. You know what I'm saying? So I tell that too. Like that was hurtful. Like sometimes you try to be positive, but they spin it and put it somewhere else in the clip to make you look like you was being negative. Like there's a clip where they try to make me look really cocky and that's when I didn't even finish the series of Legendary. I still haven't even watched the whole thing through of my season.
Not even your season? No.
I've watched the performances. I haven't watched the whole thing because I didn't want to see how they chopped and screwed what I said. But there's one part where I say La Vin is La Vin and we're motherfucking exclusive. They kept pressuring me to try to say negative things or say shady stuff. And I was like, I'm not worried about that. I was like, we came on this show to show y'all what we can do because we're trying to be great and showcase our talent. I was like, La Vin is La Vin and we're motherfucking exclusive. What everybody else has to say is what for them. I was like, so leave it. And they took that clip and they put it somewhere else. And I was like, oh, that makes me look so shady. Like, even the part like where Honey and Michaela got into with that iconic clip, like, it was initially like me, I said like, they were saying, oh, something, so we don't want no tricks or something. And I was like, well, I'm just going to give you pure Vogue. I'm not going to give you no stunts. And I think Honey thought I was talking about her. And so she was like, well, your makeup looks nasty, something. And then Michaela goes, please don't talk about our makeup because you know we didn't do this. Makeup team did it. And we didn't even get to pick our outfits. I was like, and this is our house because we've been here for X amount of weeks. They just took the part of her saying that it was her house and then put Honey's statement after that to make it look like Michaela was the one being shady. So they took it out of context. But
yeah, just to make the black people look like, hey, cantankerous.
Yeah, or nasty. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so there was certain stuff that I felt like could have been done better or, you know, they could have showed more of the love factor. But with commercialism of any style, it's always going to be hard to regulate it because now I see communities popping up everywhere, like all over the world, which I'm grateful. Like there was already scenes developing all over the world, but now like people, not everybody knows how to throw a ball. Not everybody knows the categories. Not everybody knows the categories. So now you're seeing twerk this category. You're seeing non-binary lip sync battle drag show like category, and you're like, what are these categories, girl? Like, you know, like
I got booked to do a ball in Minneapolis, and they had gender non-conforming realness, and I'm just standing there holding the camera like, do I say something? I'm gonna just collect my check and shut up. Because I don't know, you know,
but
I
that's
don't
the hard
nobody, but at the same time, gender, what?
But that's the hard part too, because it's like when we come from communities where we don't have, right? A lot of us are the first to do what we do. A lot of us are fighting to grow the community. Sometimes it's hard to speak up. Like even for me, I always say it's set to say always bring back to being black, but like it's kind of like if you don't shut up, you're labeled as the unruly, the ungruntled, the hard to work with, you know, the angry black woman. So sometimes you don't want to speak up because then it's also you can lose your job. Now that's how you paid your rent. Like, you know what I'm saying? Now that's you working with somebody else, or they try to blacklist you from this thing because you chose, you know. So a lot of people will choose to stay silent. You know what I'm saying? Like I always say, my career is harder because I don't stay silent. Like, I will risk my job. I've been kicked off of sets. I've left sets. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I've said something when no one else would.
So, put me in that position again. You think next time I should definitely say something?
Yeah. Like, my thing is, too, is also your tone and how you say it. Like, I feel like a lot of, I feel like, no, but I feel like some people, like, don't know how to talk to people. Like, for me, I also have a business background. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, I also know how to lead with a positive and end with consulting or growth, right? I'm never gonna be like,
stop yelling. I'm like,
yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm never gonna be the good like, that's not right. Da da da. I'm like, well, did you ever think of doing this? Like, I love this idea, but did you ever think of trying to do this? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I like women.
You know, like I'll try to lead in with like, oh, this part is great, but what we could work a lot more on is this. You know, but sometimes people don't want to hear that. Yeah, but sometimes people don't want to hear that, and you have to be open to that too. Like, you know, like there's been times I've been on set was like, how come there's no trans women here? Like, why am I the only black person here? Where are the Butch Queens? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's been times where I had to speak up in those situations, or times I turned down work because I don't think that is right. Like, how they're trying to display the culture is not correct. The culture isn't white Butch Queen twinks, like, honey. You know what I'm saying? Like, the culture has a lot of different people. But also be careful about commercializing something that's so authentic. Like, I tell people that too. Like, it's commercialized and that's where it's going. Like it's already way on its way and it's moving rapidly. So if the icons and the legends and the statements and the stars of the time don't get it together and start working together to put policies and clauses intact, it's not going to be ours no more. It's going to develop into something that we can't control because there won't be enough bodies. Like if everybody needs a commentator and we only got 7 main commentators that's doing something, then they're going to have all these random people come up and make things up, like, I'm saying, or whatever. Same thing with ball throwers. If we only have a couple people that are throwing functions, if they do something in Alaska, honey, who's going to help them with that? You know what I'm saying? Like if they don't have anybody from our scene out there to help. So we also need people to start doing the hard work of traveling to these places that don't have it and trying to build the community there before it happens wrong. Or
and do it authentically. Don't just do it just so you could be able to
a pioneer of that.
Right.
I was the first one to ever be in, you know what I'm saying?
A motherfucker from Ballroom will tell you if they was the first person to do something, they would definitely let you know.
Oh yeah, but I think it's also leaning on each other and working with each other and not being afraid to work with each other, and support one another. Just because someone is escalating, or elevating faster than you doesn't mean that you can't elevate too, and also knowing that I will say being authentic is a harder role to be.
Yeah. But I could have said people want to see you do good, but not better than them.
Oh yes, because my thing is I could have been farther than I am now if I was posting in ballroom clips and dips every week, if I was going on Facebook saying this thing or going to these things, or even having the money to go to every single ball. You know what I'm saying? I could have been bigger than I am now. But my thing is, too, people have to realize that sometimes staying authentic to who you are. I always say, if I'm going to escalate, I'd rather escalate as myself. I don't want to escalate and end up somewhere where I don't even know who I am. I look myself in the face, I don't know that girl. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing that I've always, sometimes I'll give away free spots in my class to Black and brown kids. Because not all of us have money to take class every week. And I was one of those people that didn't have money to take class every week. Not forgetting about the communities that we're here for. And the reason why I always say it's so funny to me because Ballroom is weird in the aspect where we big up everyone else except our own. But the whole reason it was created was because we weren't accepted. And people give me shit for saying that. But I'm like, do you realize we broke off and created a whole nother scene because people that were lighter and fairer, not just white people, but wouldn't let us in. So Blacks and Latinos had to do their own shit. And now we're doing the same exact shit to ourselves.
The same thing happened with the Kiki scene, though. The same thing that happened with the pageant scene and that how Ballroom got started. That's the same thing that happened to the Kiki scene. These people had to go make an entirely different scene just because they felt they weren't getting. They just do, and some of them they did it because for the youth, but for the majority of them, they feel like they're not being seen or heard in mainstream. So it's just like I said, we got so much work to do.
Way too much work to do. But there's easier ways to start. That's why I said on the positive side, literally working together is the main thing. Be together, work together. Second thing, start breaking down those barriers of colorism, and European standards. Break it down. 2, don't be afraid to elevate each other. When it comes to being on the floor as well. Stop the Judy shit. That shit annoys me. Be fair when you vote. I even told, that was one of the things of me going to Basquiat too. I said, I'm going to be fair. If it's someone in our house and they was not chewing it for me, I'm voting over them. Don't just pick a girl because they in your house. Don't pick a girl because they your best friend and you want to give them the coin. Pick a girl because they deserved. You know what I'm saying? Because I would say, if you don't see it for me, chop me. If you give it to me and I feel like I don't deserve it, I'm handing my trophy over to the girl that I believe should have got it. And that's just the type of person I am. Not everybody's going to do that. But there's a lot of things that we need to start breaking, open up more categories to support each other and to make sure that everyone feels comfortable walking. Another thing that I saw Kopi say, because I watched her interview, but changing women's category to cis women. And making it women's performance instead of female figure performance. But that would exclude drags. Never mind. But we'll figure out a way. You know what I'm saying?
I had runway for 500 and it was European runway, All American, legends, women's, drags, blah blah blah, femme queens, blah blah blah. Somebody hit me up you not having short boys? I'm like, no, because I don't really like that. Y'all all men, butch queens, just want for the money. I mean, walk for the trophy, and then everybody walk for the money afterwards. He was like, but you got women's runway? The fuck? You should just make it female figure. Don't none of them even come out like that. And I'm like, yeah, they don't, but are they gonna come out if we take the category away? But you know what I mean? That just shows like and I believe that's a person that's a leader now. That just shows the mentality towards some of the smaller demographics in ballroom. Yeah. If it's not you and yours, you don't really give a fuck about it. No. And not saying you or me, but a lot of people operate like that. Yeah. So I'm just glad to even just have somebody on like you to be able to share this knowledge, give these tidbits. I hope people just don't watch this for the entertainment of it, but I hope people learn from it as well. Yeah, like my dream for ballroom is to elevate but stay authentic. Like, you know what I'm saying? In the best way that it can, because it's going to evolve, it's going to change. But I think if we all work hard and together, we can keep it where at one point we are at the forefront. We are the ones, literally, we're going to have a ballroom red carpet gala like the Met Gala, but it's going to be a ball. Like, you know what I'm saying? And only ballroom people, and we're the celebrities, and not just in our scene underground, but everywhere around the globe. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we have certain people that are breaking those barriers. You know, you have the Dominiques, you have the, you have the Trace, you have the, India Moores, you have the Laomis, the Deshawn. Not only are these people very powerful in their positions that they play, I also want to see more Jacks, more people behind the scenes. Yes. I want to see our people being the ones that's cutting the checks. Yeah. Not just collecting them. But I want us to be the one that's cutting them. But it's also because that's where the power is at. But it's also to speak up. Yeah. Like, and I think that's the thing too. Like, one thing I did see Jack do on Legendary was he was like, this part ain't ballroom. You have to switch this to this. Like, Jack was very vocal about, no, this is what it's calling for, and this is what the categories are. And I saw him pushing and pulling with production teams. And there's probably only so much he can do still. Yeah, because he's still, like, at the end of the day, the executive producers were all white. And I respect them and I love them, but there was not a single person that was up that high that looked like us. And it's only but so much you can do at the level you are. Oh yeah, and then I think it's also frustration too. Like, if you're trying to speak and like they just, you also got to realize that too. People forget that it's TV, so not everybody's gonna understand, especially if they're not from the world. Like, what I'm saying, I tell people white gay experience is different than Black Latino gay experience. So that's a different level playing field as well, and people don't want to acknowledge those things either. But I think like with time and energy and the good fight, we can get there. Like that's the whole reason why I was excited that you asked me to be here, was because I got to support a channel that is started by and made with love, light, positivity, and actually capturing the ballroom experience how it needs to be captured. Authentically. Yeah, authentically. Not I want this to be in your words, not what I want you to say. Yeah. Your words. Now I respect that. I always say like that's something that I love and I keep true and near and dear to my heart as someone that grew up in ballroom. And it's hard because I tell people sometimes, people will say like, I don't deserve to be here because I'm a woman. A lot of people don't even know I'm queer, which is funny because I'm so female presenting. Like, people automatically assume like, oh, where's your boyfriend at? I'm like, well, I'm boyfriend, girl. First off, I was looking at you, girl. Like, no shade. But like, people don't realize like, that's the thing too, is always having to prove how gay I am is annoying. Like, but it's also like realizing that we also matter. Like, Black women matter, queer cis women matter. Right. And we also have to remember to also lean and support them as well. Because like I said, I love the heterosexual girls, but also know that the community was made for the gay girls as well. So I'm telling you, like I always said, I really want like a panel discussion, like more like, that's something I really want. We should do that next time I come here. But I know people are going to hate me for this, but I think trans women and cis women have a lot of fight together. And I feel like if we could get people that are open and willing to have conversations with each other about the hard topics,
I think that we could conquer a lot of ground. Because I do feel like being a cis woman, I felt the push and pull on both sides. Like, and I've heard sometimes cis women say reckless shit out of their mouth, and I've heard femme queens say reckless shit out of their mouth. Like, but I also think if we can build a bond together, and I don't know if that's also because there's a lot of heterosexual cis women and not that many queer cis women to also have those conversations from a queer aspect. I just think that we can conquer a lot of ground, like just having a women's panel, like, you know what I'm saying, like of every nationality, every different type of life to talk about those. And it's going to be hard, and I know we're going to have challenging questions between the two, because not everyone speaks the same language, not everyone's going to understand the barriers, and not everybody knows how to say things with grace.
Right.
But I also think that it would help to build and grow and evolve.
And it will also help people that see that conversation, possibly have that conversation in their real life with the people that they know.
Yeah, because I tell people too, like, we have these alliance meetings and we have like Ballroom, House Lives Matter, and all these things. But what are we doing to implement all these things that we're talking about? Are we just going there to talk about them? Like, I know I went to one and we were talking about like making the balls start and end on time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how we expect people to get there on time. We really not starting on time because we waiting for Shorty to get there because we know our homegirl is not coming till 12 or they a little late. No, have the category, start it on time so we can actually finish a function. You know what I'm saying? Not have to have 2 and 3 days worth of ball, honey. Like, because that's 2 and 3 days worth of coin.
Too much.
Yeah. Well, I went to Jack's Bowl. I appreciated that there was 2 days only because it allotted time for everything to get done, and you weren't so tired. Like, there's been times where I fell asleep at my house taking money, you know what I'm saying, because I was at a ball so long, or, you know, or I left and came back because it was so long. But I also think we need to make it affordable. That's one thing that I was sad about, that was so expensive, because also me traveling from the West Coast,
right,
I had to pay.
Spending the arm and leg.
Then you talking about hotel, honey. I was like, I hit up a friend the next day, like, can I just stay with you? Because I'm not trying to pay for another hotel room, like, you know. But like, if you're trying to eat, if you're trying to buy a house table, if you're trying to whatever, it gets to be really expensive. So I get it, because we have so many people. We have so many people walking now, like, and that are walking so many categories. But it's also like, if we got to get back to list balls, honey, and put the girls' names on the list for certain events, make it how it needs to be. But I couldn't do like a week-long worth of balls. Like, I feel like that would be a lot if we start getting to like 4-day balls. Like,
no. I've always been against. I've always been against aftermaths. I never really liked aftermaths like that. It's just like, I had enough on Saturday.
I like it.
Once I started recording, I'm like, okay, it makes sense, because now that person that felt like they got shaded on Saturday, now they winning on Sunday.
Yeah.
So it gives people another chance. And
not
it's also like a little bit more fun environment, because it's not as
much pressure.
Stuffy. Yeah, not as much pressure.
I like it because, one, you get to hang out with your friends for another day. Like, that's why I like that. It's another place, like, where you get to, if I have friends from Chicago and I live in LA, or friends from, you know, Florida, I didn't get to see them. So now I get to spend 2 days with you, one, and we get to kiki at the bowl. You know, so I like the community that it gives, 2 days of community. I also like the fact that, like, if they didn't, a lot of times, like I said, they put women's performance at the front or at the end. Like, they be shading us. Same thing with Sex Siren, like, or whatever. Women's categories in general, they be shading sometimes, because they don't care as much about it. So I might not have gotten a chance to walk, you know, the first night. So now I'm finally getting a chance at the floor, whether it be open to all category or not. I actually get to see the fucking floor. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that always brought me joy too.
Right, because it'd be about maybe like 25%, maybe 25, maybe 40% of the crowd that was there
the day before. Yeah, and then it's also like a lot of the balls don't be finishing. So like, if the ball don't finish, like, then I flew all the way out. I remember one time me and Riley was in Philly. Like I had flew back to Philly and we was both at some ball in Philly and we was waiting for our category, but it was a lot of money on the line for one of the categories. And they did that. By the time they did that, then the ball was over. We didn't have enough time. So then me and her just in the back of the ball, we ended up just having a little photo shoot together because we knew we was going to get the walk. Like, you know what I'm saying? So there's been plenty of moments where I've been either stuck outside the ball because they sold too many tickets. Mind you, paid for it already. Sold too many tickets, got stuck outside the ball, didn't get to walk the ball, but I'm spending all this money. Like, so it's like, I wish that too, like people will respect cis women's categories in that aspect is we paying too. And some of us are gay and we need this shit too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and yeah, so I want to be a part too. And I can't walk Bush Queen both. The girls over here. I can't walk. I honestly wanted to be a twister because I be given the trade in day to day sometimes. But like, they wouldn't let me walk that either. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, if we can't walk these other categories and you trying to make us only strictly stay to cis woman categories, like, have our shit. Like,
I think you can, but you just have to be more out the box. So, like, you think about it, like, any woman can walk.
Did they be chopping? Well, best us, yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's just like, it's not like, you know, like all the other categories, like, you know, women can't walk realness. I mean, unless they butchers.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's just, I don't know, it's just tough. But I feel like, yeah, there's definitely needs to be a lot more respect for women's categories. Not even just from like the judges, but just from everybody. Like some people be like, they just don't really give it the same
attention,
the same attention, the same respect. It could even be like,
and no shade, it be dry sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. There was years where I used to watch women's. That's why I liked watching Femme Queen. I would watch it and I'd be like, they letting these girls through and they not dipping on time. Like I was glad that one time at Latex birthday, Sean spoke up and was like, "Girl, these girls are not giving it. If y'all don't speak up," and then all of a sudden they started saying something. Like, but I feel like they just like fa la la a lot of the women category.
The ones that the cream of the crop that rise up. Do we see those same names celebrated that we see as the Bush Queens or the Femme Queens?
I feel like now it's getting to the point, like, right now, I feel like they're giving a lot more cis women their limelight. Like, right now, you hear a lot about Venus and Riley and Ivy, but they're all also more fair skinned. I don't hear that much about the Candaces, you know what I'm saying, the Lalas, you know,
so I want
the Shantays, like, you know.
I want their names to be just as celebrated as, you know, the Vogue femmers that are out there walking. When they get shaded or they don't win, I want to see people in the comments mad too. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I want just that same, you know, energy for everybody all around.
But people don't care. I feel like I'd be talking to a brick wall half the time. Like, I bring up this stuff all the time. I brought it up at House Lives Matter. Like, I was like, honey, I was like, I just don't get it. Like, why y'all keep shading the girls? And like, people was like, you know, nothing was done about it, nothing was said about it, like, and I get it, but I also feel like too, like, it's the house's job too to, like, at least for me, to reach out to your black queer girls and pull them into the scene too. You know, I feel like they're quick to find someone that don't look like us or that's international or whatever, because then they can get their house to this part of Europe or they can get their house to this part of Mexico or Brazil, like, and open up a chapter there, but they forget about all of these people in fucking America.
It's more about business.
Yeah, like, I feel like they look at that too. Like, same thing. If they could bring money or opportunities, they are quick to boom, boom to them. And a lot of us black girls we have a lot to offer, but it may not be monetary. You know what I'm saying? We might not have the physical coin to give, but we will bring in a lot of love. We'll be loyal. We'll come in and help mold the children to where they need to be, you know, but they don't care as much about that as in financial and social gain. You know, and that's a hard part too, because I've had kids turn me down because they saw that they can get more from this girl than they could from me. You know what I'm saying? And that hurt my soul as well. I'm like, damn, like, it's like that. That's fine. It wasn't meant to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it doesn't make it hurt any less. You know what I'm saying? I think that people need to take queer women's struggles into consideration. You know, like, knowing that, like, not all queer women have the coin, you know what I'm saying, to be around. Like, not all queer women have the money to travel as much. Like, so they're like, oh, well, this person don't deserve this because they haven't done this, this, and this. Maybe they didn't have the coin to go and do this, this, and this, like that person did. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I get it, but I also don't get it because they should know because they coming from the same community. Like, so I think like it just could be a lot better, especially when it comes to cis women and women in general. Like, because I've talked to trans women that are more chocolate and they have the same problems as cis women that are darker half. Like, you know what I'm saying, with them not winning the face category or not winning this sex siren category or et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, you got to start being open and letting go of these barriers, because if we don't break them down, you think when it gets to not being in our face or when it gets to those production places that it's going to look any different? No. They groomed us well. It's sad to say. Like, it's literally brainwashing and systematic oppression and generational trauma that literally is biting us in the ass, and half of us don't even see it. And that's the sad part. We're brainwashed that bad where we can't even see it happening. Like, people always think I'm crazy because you're like, you're so pro-black, you're so this. You can be pro-black and pro-people too. Like, you know what I'm saying? But my thing is, I understand and I've lived it and understood what it feels like to be at the bottom of the totem pole, and black women still are. So to be there and to be where I'm at now, like, I do extra effort for people that are black and Latino because I know what we struggle through. So people are like, you have favoritism towards, it's not favoritism, it's I already know we're one step below.
Yeah.
And we deserve it. And the only way we're going to level it out is if we start treating each other better and working with each other. Like, a lot of times if I'm casting black Latino. I'm casting, I'm casting people that look like us. First. That's what I'm first. I'm like, that's what I'm casting, and then I'll go to everybody else. You know what I'm saying? I do the reverse of what they do. They need 6 white and 1 black. I do 6 black and 1 white, okay. or 1 Asian and 1, whatever. 6 black Latino and everybody else. So I do the opposite, and I'm grateful that I am not, like, even the fact that I got to work with Lizzo on her tour. Me and Carlos have a piece on her special tour right now. We didn't get to cast it, but I was so proud because, first off, all the women are black and Latino. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of them are queer. So that meant a lot to me, to be able to work with queer and people of all sexualities, but on a space and platform that big.
Yeah.
Because I've worked with other, artists of that rapport, but it's never been where I walked in the room and all I saw was people of color. I mean, I was on Legendary, and I was the girl that was reading the contracts and making sure the girls weren't getting gypped of the coins. And yeah, I was the business advocate. And then, like, a lot of times in the house, that's why they gave me a lot of screen time on Legendary, because I was one of the girls that my parents did not let me speak out of term. Like, I was not allowed to say that much slang around them, but I did slang around my friends. And then they forced me to go to college. I did not want to go. Like, I wanted to just go into dance, but my parents were like, you're first generation college kid. You're gonna go. Mind you, all the loans is in my name. Okay? Them loans ain't in their name. Their loans is in my name. But I am grateful that I went, but it also opened me up to the world view and showed me racism. First day I stepped on foot on college campus, I had my first racist encounter. And a girl ran into the bathroom stall, wouldn't even look at me, and stayed in there. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. So I stayed in the bathroom extra long to see if she would come out. Didn't come out. Walked out of the bathroom, I see her scurry outside of it. Then I get to my floor meeting, and they're like, oh, I can't be on the floor with niggers. I said, is this not 20? Like, we are the 2000s, honey. What are we talking about here? Like, and this is happening. Like, people are acting like this is yesteryear that racism is not alive, honey. I dealt with it firsthand. You know what I'm saying? On plenty of occasions where I would go, or I would hang out with my fairer skinned friends, and they would take me to a restaurant or a bar where black people are not as common, and I get the side eyes or the dirty looks or the complaints. Like, I've been places and gotten, I mean, we got the complaints at Legendary. Like, that's, I'm gonna say it. I don't care. I'm not in the contract no more, honey. We was at the hotel, and people was calling on the phone to the front desk trying to get us kicked out of the hotel because they didn't like. We were in Stamford, Connecticut. It's a very white area. and you got a whole bunch of mixed race queer people. People was just setting us up, lying and saying stuff just because they didn't want us there. You know what I'm saying? Like, granted, like the show did fight for us to stay there, and then some people was doing their thing. You know what I'm saying? Some of the girls was walling. You know what I'm saying? But I also tell people, you can't take a bunch of people out of Ballroom that never had, stick them up in this expensive ass hotel in another city, and expect them not to still be Ballroom girls. It's like Cardi B. You can't take her out of hood, make her a millionaire, expect her to not be from the hood.
It's gonna take her a few years to adjust.
Yeah.
Because at first you seemed like she was running up on bitches. Now she's suing bitches.
Mm-hmm.
So it took her a minute to like adjust.
Yeah.
Now she getting into it.
But it's the same thing with us. And I think like that's something too, is like we got to start reaching back to our Ballroom family and start teaching them how to be professional. You know how many jobs I've given to Ballroom people and they showed up late, didn't show up, decided last minute they don't want to do it no more or whatever. And this is with prominent people. And then they wonder why I don't cast them. Oh, you don't never ask me. When I did, guess what happened? You know what I'm saying? Like, if more of us become professional, I'm not saying lose yourself, because one thing I'm always myself on set. Like, you always gonna get Packrat, and I'm gonna be very honest with you. But I know how
to be
professional. Show up on time, look presentable. Come. I've been time where I'm like, okay, I know if we struggling to have, but don't be afraid to ask for help.
Right.
Turn and be like, okay, I got this job. How much money should I ask for? You know what I'm saying? People doing stuff for free for big ass companies and wondering why they ain't getting no money. Like, honey, you should have never did that for free. Ask them what a base rate is. You know what I'm saying? Ask them what consulting is. Ask them what a headshot should look like. How to find an audition. How to get an agent. Like, these are all things people can get, but they're too scared to ask people. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need to start helping each other so that we not diminishing the community as we go higher. Because they go like, okay, I know this person don't know nothing, so I know this person knows about it, and they trying to charge me X amount of dollars. We're going to go get this person because they don't know nothing. We can get them for free. They literally plot against us like that because they know people don't know. But I'm saying, but because they know we don't know.
Yeah.
But it's also because a lot of us that do get there, people are scared to reach back and tell, because same thing we've been talking about, the complex of this person might get bigger than me, then I might not book no jobs. I don't give a shit. I bring every black girl I could bring with me, I will bring. I remember I got cast for a Black Lady sketch show. They was looking for black girls. I threw out Destiny's name, I threw out Gina's name, I threw out all the black girls on the West Coast. This is the black girls I know. Anytime I get an opportunity to like bring on black girls or know that black girls could be involved, like, I'm bringing them in. Femme queens too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I tell you, I don't just look out for black cis women. You know, I look out for the femme queens first. But that's why I said sometimes it's hard because femme queens be having cases, girl, and no shade if you're the federal, if you the the sex work, it's hard.
Whole different conversation.
Yeah, and they'll do that background check, and it's a chop, and that's hard too, because I want to be able to bring on everybody, especially the people that inspire me. I want to be able to bring them on. But it's also people got to start stepping it up and realizing that these white people aren't going to cast us. And right now, they're the ones with the money until we support each other so we can be the ones with the money.
Exactly. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like I said, I hope people just take this entire thing and receive it, not just watch it, but receive it. And also, if you are not somebody who is not black or a black woman, try to put yourself in, don't even put yourself in their shoes. Listen to what they're saying.
That part.
And don't just listen to talk back. Listen to absorb. Listen to really feel where they're coming from. So my last question to you, Packrat, is to describe yourself in 5 words or less.
Ooh. 5 words or less. I would say strong. And I'm going to say, damn, it always leads to another conversation. Quick. I would say strong. There's a double standard on strong. People mistake black women as strong as we don't need help. I'm still very fragile. I still need assistance and help. But do I think we're strong? Yes. And we have to be. Because if we're not, we would crumble and we wouldn't even be here. So I will say we are strong. But don't negate my femininity or my softness because I said I'm strong. Okay, no, not even that. I'm weak at times, and that's okay too. I'm gonna tell my black women that too. It's okay. We are allowed to be weak. Okay, breaking the third wall, honey. Yeah. Okay, we're allowed to be weak. It's okay. We need help sometimes, but that doesn't negate the fact that we are strong too. You know, because we've held together families. We've taken in other people when no one else wanted them. You know what I'm saying? Of all nationalities.
Suffer in silence.
All the time. We suffer in silence. Because there's always a part of a black woman that has to shut up. It's sad to say that there's always a part, because if you don't, you get scrutinized, you get criminalized, and then don't nobody want to be around it. You know, so strong, for sure. I would say loving. Because I always try to lead with love and light. I will say, quirky, because I know that I'm weird. I accept my weird, and it's okay to be weird too. Everybody don't gotta follow the trends, honey. Everyone know how to be trending. Bitch, I am the trend. No shade. Aim to be the trend instead of be trending or be on the bandwagon. Okay, start your own, do your own. Unique, because Packrat is one of a kind. I was developed and they broke the mold after me. There's only one of me. There's no other Packrat in the scene that I know of. Girl, if you are, come forward, honey. You can be friends. Look, Anna, shut up. It's okay. All the angles, honey. We're going down. What's that? That's 4.
Yes, that's 4.
Look, I'm like, all that college, and girl, can you count? And I love that you picked 5 because I'm actually a live 5 in Zeta Phi Beta sorority. So good number. And the last one I would say, it's hard. Historian. And the reason why I say that is because I lean a lot, one, towards my ancestors, to the ancestors of the ballroom, because without them, none of us would be here. So I say to always keep the history of any culture I involve myself in alive, because it's a lot of times we forget the names that laid their lives down on the line for us to be here. Or, you know, we celebrate them with a moment of silence, but we forget the years that they put into to make these things what we are today. You know, so I always tell people, even when I teach classes, even when I speak, I always aim to add in history, because without that, how do you ever expect to be a part of anything? And we can't let the authenticity die by forgetting the history of why we're created. And I feel like that's something that we are slightly letting go of right now. We're forgetting the reason why ballroom was created. Black and brown people needed a place of life and love and acceptance. So just to always remember, and like the black and brown Marshall P. Johnson, you know, the people that literally fought the fight and died doing marches, you know, just for rights, you know, not just in ballroom, but in the world. So I will always say a historian, because I'm always going to do my best to keep it authentic.
That's dope. I will also add remarkable to that.
Thank you.
Just because, like I said, I've when I first started this series, I wanted to interview a lot of the Midwest, because I'm from the Midwest.
Yes.
But then once I started doing it, I'm like, you know what? I want to interview everybody. I want to really cover ballroom's demographic, every demographic.
Yes.
But then once I started doing it, I'm like, I don't want to just be going to cities, just reaching. I just need to interview anybody. So then I started really watching people. Who do I want to learn about? And you was one of the top ones on that list.
Really?
For real. Like,
I feel like nobody ever thinks about me.
After the first time I came back, that's the first time I was in LA in 2021, I was just looking, I'm like, damn, Packrat in LA. And then I was just like, I'm about to reach out to her, but I was just like, next ball, like if I get booked in the ball in LA, that's when I'm gonna come back.
Yeah.
And it took over a year, but we here. And like I said, I'm so thankful to have this. Even in the comments, a lot of times people will reach out to me personally, like on social media, and tell them how much this series means to them. I've had interviews that have gotten like 500 views, and it's somebody in my inbox telling me that this interview changed their life.
Wow.
You know, it's people that telling me thank you so much just for me feeling like I have representation on my TV screen.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's real.
that is so deep.
That's why
Even in today, where we have Pose and Legendary and all these other things,
that's why I did Legendary.
People still feel like they don't see themselves. So I appreciate you, your story, your honestness, and just the person that you are. I think that a lot of people should watch you, even if they don't want to emulate to be like you. They should take the positive qualities about you and try to implement them in their own life. Because like I said, this interview could have been 6 hours because we could literally sit here all day. Like I said, I want you to also do your own podcast as well.
I'm definitely looking into it.
So I want y'all to follow Packrat at is it underscore Packrat or just Packrat?
When we do the spell?
Yes.
Hi everyone, my name is Packrat. Packrat, aka Packrat Lavin, BKA Packrat Basquiat. You can follow me on all social media platforms at underscore Packrat underscore. If you want to do nerd things with me, it's XX underscore Packrat underscore XX on Twitch. And if you're on Snapchat, it's at Packrat Wit. All other handles at underscore Packrat underscore. That's TikTok, that's Twitter, that's Instagram. Yeah.
So whatever you do and follow her, make sure you watch out for her every project that she has coming up. And again, I want to just thank you for coming here. You don't have to do this.
Yes, I did.
Well,
yes, I did.
I appreciate you having to do it, but a lot of people they look at it as small shit. So I want to thank you for like even just having the respect enough to even come through with it. And yeah, if people don't really know how much this series really means to me. I could have came here tomorrow, did my job and left.
Mm-hmm.
It means so much to me to give y'all a platform and in the same time help myself build my own platform with the people that I want to see represented. And like I said, I want to see the rainbow represented and more than anything, the black in that rainbow because look at me. We the same complexion.
Mm-hmm.
We the same. We was in 70 times. We would have been in the same field or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, I want to not only just listen to black women. I want to like they say protect black women. I want your voice to feel like it's heard. So I hope that was conveyed in this project. I want people to comment. What about the things that you heard that we talked about. So,
and if you want to talk about it, bring it up. Because we can always have a panel discussion. We can further the conversation. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I tell people I have conversations that may be lengthy or long, but a lot of it are real topics that we need to discuss further, from all different viewpoints of how everyone feels, not just how one side feels. Because if we don't, then how do we ever expect to get there?
How do you grow without diversity?
I do want to give you your roses, though. No shade. No, I want to say thank you for having this, not just the series, but for capturing moments in Ballroom, for really putting in the hard work, because a lot of people don't want to do the work, but they want to see things grow. But if you're not actively helping it grow, how do you expect it to get there? And even just having me, there's been so many times where people don't ask black women to do things and we're always the odd man out, or we have to be the ones that hey, don't forget about me, please, ask me, so even to think about having me on here, to speak honestly reached to my soul. That's why I was like, I gotta figure out a way to be there, girl. We gotta find a way. I literally hit you up last night and was like, can we still do it?
I'm getting on the plane. Yes, we can. I was literally getting on the plane when you texted me that. And that's what I knew. It was
divine timing. Divine timing.
It's certain things that I feel like God just puts signals, and that was one of them. The fact that I'm getting on the plane, and it was I never take late night flights. The fact that I'm getting on the plane at 11 o'clock at night, like, and you just happened.
Yes. It was still early here.
And then my first interview ain't until 5, so it was like the timing. And like I said, when I said it was perfect, I meant that. Everything was perfect about this. Yeah, like I will continuously watch you.
Right back at you. I download that. Get the app.
Right.
Okay, Ballroom TV. Download the app, honey. Right. I have it on my phone. Right. Support creators. Support Black creators. Support queer creators. I think like we said, the way that we can start breaking these barriers is by working together, and that's always been something I've been big on. Like I said, I'm very grateful to you for even having me to come and have a conversation. To bring up the hard topics, to cry, bitch, no shade. Right. We had a little of every emotion, no shade. Emotional roller coaster. But also respecting Black women experiences. And I always tell people, Black women of all experiences, all races, nationalities, because, you know, some people are mixed Black, you know what I'm saying? They're not just Black from American Black, because you always have Black people from Paris, you know what I'm saying, that have a different experience than, or from Africa or everywhere, that have different experiences than Black Americans. But to want to capture my experience, a lot of people don't care that much too. No, to be honest, they really care more about the shade than to hear about what's truly going on in Black women. And like, I've spoke to a lot of Black women, a lot of us have the same issues and struggles within ballroom, let alone our lives. So I'm just grateful for you for having an open ear and to be willing to listen to anyone that decides to watch this and actually care about the voice.
5 views or 5 million.
Yeah.
I feel complete. I don't even know the word I'm looking for. I just feel satisfied from what we have accomplished here today. Even if I know something. So I got you hooked up to like 3 different.
Yeah, all the mics.
Something is going to work. But even if all these audios mess up, I'm going to take the audio out this camera, and it's still going to be good enough, man, because this is so important. So, like I said, I appreciate everybody for sitting down watching this 2-hour interview.
Okay, no shade, because we went over the time.
This is probably the longest interview. I think you broke Kevin Omni's record.
Really? Oh my God.
Yeah. So
Shigagula.
I like I said, it's nothing less to say. Ladies and gentlemen,
Shigaggy.
The up and coming should be legendary now, but the up and coming legendary Packrat Basquiat.
Shout out to all the Black women, the trans women, the femmes, the non-binaries. Love y'all. And thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Oh, no.